and a strange family finds redemption in the unlikeliest of places, the MMA. Tommy, an ex-Marine with a tragic past, returns home and enlists his father, a recovering alcoholic and former wrestling coach, to train him for Sparta, the biggest MMA tournament ever held. But when Tommy's underdog brother Brendan fights his way into the tournament, the two brothers must finally confront each other and the forces that pulled them apart. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode we'll be covering 2011's Warrior, directed by Gavin O'Connor.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, hi, how you going? Welcome to Midnight Double Feature. This is another feature presentation episode where we are covering Warrior, directed by Gavin O'Connor from 2011. Colin, what is happening?
Hey, what's up, dude? I'm excited. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to talk about Warrior. This was your pick, but yeah, I'm excited to jump into this. I'm doing well, dude.
Yeah, that's good, man. I mean, this was my pick, and I guess we're kind of like rolling back to back with Joel Edgerton's, right?
Hell yeah!
I mean, with
easily becoming one of my favorite fucking actors, like of all time.
Powerhouse,
he's so good.
Powerhouse. Yeah.
I will say, he's not my favorite person in this movie, and he's kind of just like a normal. He's just a dude, you know. But in like The Gift, he's got some crazy shit going on. Like he's got some weird shit to him, but he's just kind of a dude in this.
He's got
one,
some range.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. Before we get into it, guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Midnight Double Feature. If you want to follow us on our socials, just check the show notes of whatever app you're listening on. They're right there. They're always there. They'll always be there. And that's the way that you can keep up to date on everything that's happening here at Midnight Double Feature. What I will plug is our Patreon. Basically, we have a bonus feed called The Green Room. That's where people come together to support the show. We're an independent podcast. We have no advertising. We have no sponsorship. We rely on you guys, our faithful listeners, to keep us going. So for just $5 a month, that is literally, as Patrick Harrington describes it, skip one day of Starbucks, and you'll get a whole bunch of access. You get access to a whole bunch of bonus episodes on the Green Room feed, right? I mean, like, there's a whole bunch of stuff there. There's a bunch of exclusive episodes from 1999's The Mummy to the first Saw movie to a whole bunch of episodes that we like to call Shooting the Shit, where Colin and I, or, you know, any other configuration of the host, just, you know, sit back for an hour and just talk shit, you know, just talk about it, like take a topic and just talk about it. Yeah, and like we just kind of like riff back and forth, and like, you know, honestly, it's stuff that, you know, we talk, you know, it's a little less formal. You know, we try not to be formal on these episodes as well, these feature presentations, but like, you know, we're not burdened by like a run time or anything like that. Right. You know, we're not burdened by like
bonus stuff is way more free form. You know, it's not like, oh, I have to follow a plot. You know, it's not laid out before.
We got to move on to the next scene. Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's a lot of fun, and you know, our Green Room members have nothing but good things to say about it, and we're super grateful for those guys. So thank you so much for everyone who signed up. If you do want to sign up, head to patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature or midnightdoublefeature.com. Colin, give me your thoughts on Warrior 2011.
Yeah, so I actually saw this in theaters because I was working at the movie theater at the time when this came out. I was a third shift janitor at a movie theater, and I was the supervisor. That's how fucked up that place was. They made me a supervisor. But I ended up, you know, working there for a while, and you get these free passes and stuff. So I remember going, I think with a couple of buddies of mine, we saw Warrior. And I remember liking it more at the time. And, you know, I feel kind of like about level on it. It's like, yeah, I mean, it really hasn't like gone down for me at all, because I do like this movie. I know we've talked about it a lot before, and like I like this movie a lot, but I still like The Fighter better, like on a rewatch. And I think that Fighter,
I knew that was going to come up as a comparison because I was going to bring it up too.
Well, yeah, and it's like fucking The Prestige and The Illusionist. It's like, come on, dude. Like, you can't really, you know, it's kind of like one is definitely better than the other one, in my opinion. I like The Fighter, because it's based off a true story too. And when you watch Mickey Ward's fights, watch his fight with Arturo Gatti and why they got Round of the Century from Ring Magazine. It is amazing. It is 3 minutes of like, dude, they're exhausted and they're in the middle and they're punching each other, and it's just like neither one of them will go down. It's an amazing round of boxing. I really like the fighter, you know, and I think that I maybe had seen that first, or maybe this one just didn't make a huge impression on me. I remember liking it, but I remember thinking like the story of Fighter was better just from like with, you know, Christian Bale and losing all the weight and stuff. I did like this one though, because there's something about Joel Edgerton is kind of like the everyman, and Tom Hardy's kind of this like wild card, I guess. But dude, the MVP is Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte's the best part of this fucking movie. What do you mean you're not?
Oh, sorry, that wasn't me. That was a car trying to start up outside.
I wish I had a pencil and a pencil sharpener, but a manual one, just like just. But I mean, goddamn though, man, he's so. There's a reason why he's, you know, he's a household name. Like, oh yeah, Nick Nolte. I know who Nick Nolte is. I got him confused with Gary Busey all the time when I was a kid.
He is hauling some heavy load in this movie.
Oh yeah,
he is.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of work to do in this movie.
He pulled a muscle carrying this movie. Like,
no, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't. I think. Hold on. All three of them are fucking great in this movie. We gotta hold on. No, I pause the brakes there.
I like Joel Edgerton, but you know he has more whatever. He has more range than this, and I like it. He's kind of just supposed to be like, hey, I'm John Everyman, basically. I'm a 5'10" white, you know, guy with brown hair who loves his family, and it's like, well, okay, cool. Like, you're supposed to like him a lot, but you know, Tom Hardy's cool, but there's something about his performance. I'm like, dude, this is just Eddie Brock. Like, this feels like Eddie Brock from Venom. You know, it kind of feels like this, you know, and it's a little bit more, you know, I think that the moments where he's emotional and he's in the ring and his eyes are all puffy after his shoulder gets popped, it's like, dude, that's incredible.
Terrifying.
But
terrifying.
There were parts where it's like, dude, like, you know, you're like, maybe you're coming a little bit thick. And I don't think it's the performance. I think it might be the character. It was just this unrelenting, you train me, but don't ever fucking talk to me and wake me up and shit. And it was like, man, you know, and he, you know, ultimately I think that ends up what kind of pushes Nick Nolte to relapse and shit. It's like, dude, you're just this unrelenting fucking, like, come on, man. Like, I get it. Like, you know, I understand like your childhood growing up and stuff. And I was like, Jesus, it's just hard to watch sometimes. All in all, I mean, I like it. You know, I'm not like mad about it. I would definitely own this movie, and I would definitely, you know, recommend this to someone and maybe watch it. Like, I like having my nephews and nieces stay over and to watch, you know, and, you know, we'll stay up and watch movies and order pizza and stuff. So I'm like, dude, Warrior, I'd be like, you got to watch this. This movie's awesome. I know they would like it a lot. And that's kind of something. I don't have kids, but I'll be 31 in a little bit, and I gauge what my need. I'm like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, you like this? Like, do you like that? And I'm like, I'm probably not going to have kids. I got like fucking 7 nephews and nieces or something. So I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Like, I'm good. I'll just, you know, I'll just spoil the shit out of them.
Hold on. I thought you were going to say, because you were like, I'm 31 soon. And you then said, I got 7 or 8. I thought you were going to say, I thought I got 7 or 8 years left in me.
For all I know. No, I'm just kidding. If I keep staying up and doing the boozing and the whoring, I end up like Doc Holliday with fucking TB. But the, you know, this movie didn't blow my socks off. I liked it. I would recommend it. I feel it's probably like a solid 7.5 out of 10 for me. It's a good solid, you know, and it's kind of just one of those, like, the performances are great, but everything's so gray. And that's mainly what I like about it, or like who's right and who's wrong, and who should I root for? And what happens if this person gets it? What happens to these people as a result of that? And you're kind of weighing these things in your head, and you're like, whew, like trying to make a decision which one you kind of want to root for. But everybody's got this, like, right when you go, oh yeah, he's the one. And then it's like, oh, well, now something's going on here. You know, like there's some flaws to each of them, and all of them is pride. There's a huge pride streak that runs through these people, and excuse me, we can definitely get into that. But for the most part, I really enjoyed like the characters, and kind of, you know, the story's okay, but I like the characters a little bit more, and just kind of the more, I guess, like gray that they kind of are. No one's really right. No one's really wrong. I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
God damn, do I love this movie.
Yeah.
This is, yeah, you were like, I'm not mad about this movie. Dude, I am mad about this movie. I loved Warrior back at the cinema. And again, I think it definitely falls into that period of time when we were both at the movies, working at the movies, because I was definitely, working at the movies. I used to pop in for like scenes that I knew were going to be great and stuff like that. Couple of things I want to talk about here in the preamble. You don't see many MMA movies. There are a whole bunch of boxing movies. I mean, Ali, I mean, The Fighter.
Except for the Never Back Down movie, like those shitty.
Yeah, but those are kind of like more teen kind of like dramas, I think. Whereas this is like the first real good MMA movie. And I think there's a reason for it. I think this movie came out 7 or 8 years too early. I think we are now living in the boom of like MMA. Fighting. Kind of like what's it kind of like the Spider-Man Raimi movies, right? Like, I mean, like they came before the big boom of superhero movies. Like if Warrior would have come out right now, I think it would make a ton of money.
Yeah.
The whole world of MMA and combat sports has just blown up since 2011. And, this is a sport mainly that has been around since the early 90s. But I think the popularity of it, you get these big personalities like Conor McGregor, Dana White, Joe Rogan, all kind of like propagating this sport. And I think, a lot more people are coming into it than ever before. And, I'm not going to sit here on this podcast and pretend to be a big MMA guy or super knowledgeable.
No,
I know fighters. I've seen a few fights. A lot of my mates are into this kind of stuff. They usually, go out for a few drinks or something on fight day or something like that and, just sit around the TV and watch, which results in me doing that too. And I just, having to look up the screen. I was like, oh, yeah, cool. Dude, some of them are fucking wild, right? I mean, like there's...
Oh, hell yeah.
Dude, a couple months ago, I'm sitting... This guy, so the ref blows the whistle, and I can't remember who it was. I want to look it up. Ref blows a whistle, first round. They go in. Guy strikes with his right foot, right? Hits the guy's knee, and his knee's like braced, so he's ready for it. He pulls his leg back, lands on his leg that he just struck with.
It just snaps.
God,
yeah, I saw that.
But it's not until you realize when you watch it in slow motion that it's even more horrifying, because you see in the guy's face, the actual guy who did the strike, he doesn't realize that his leg is like snapped until he puts his foot down, because he's like recovering from that kick, right? His leg's still in the air, coming back, and he's just like, braced. He's got his game face on until his leg hits the floor and it collapses on itself. That is just like, fuck.
Dude,
man, like
I have twice.
It's a gnarly sport.
I have twice, and this is the closest thing. I've dislocated the same knee twice, and to look over and see your kneecap on the other side of your leg, like in the wrong spot, and just have to like smack it in, and you're like, I was like, oh my god, that's one thing I can't like, dude. I can watch like decapitations and shit, but like guts and like knees popping, I'm like, like I can't do that shit, dude. It makes you just started talking, and I was like, I gotta hold my stomach for a second. I just need to
totally. I seen you kind of like brace yourself. Well, I'm sitting here. I haven't told you this. I haven't been fucking exercising lately because a couple of weeks ago, I hurt myself at soccer, and like I had to go get an MRI scan, X-ray. Turns out I tore my meniscus, which is fun.
Damn.
So my doctor calls me the other day. She's like, "Yeah, you might need to consult with a surgeon." And I'm just like, "Oh, awesome! Thank you for telling me that very much."
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here with a knee brace, which is awesome. And I miss physical activity. Like I'm not even kidding. When this is all done and dusted and my knee's all good, I want to go and run.
Right.
And I'm not a big runner.
Just like Andy Sandberg and Hot Rod, just like flipping through the woods and shit, like Kevin Bacon and Footloose.
Totally. But this movie, dude, turning back to it, I think at this time, watching in 2011, Tom Hardy was still an unknown factor. I mean, we'd only seen him in Inception at this point. Well, or rather, I had only seen him in Inception, so I was like, "Oh, here's that guy."
Because he was coming back, because he hits a rough patch there, I think.
Right. Well, I mean, I hadn't seen his early stuff. I hadn't seen Bronson. Inception was the first thing I saw him in, and like everyone, I was like, I want to see more of Eames, from Inception, because like Eames was kind of like he didn't have a lot of screen time, but like the screen time that he did have in Inception, he was super interesting because he's like very mysterious. Like he's kind of like funny at the same time. He's biting. Like,
Mhm.
so you kind of want to see more of Tom Hardy. And then the next like 3 or 4 years were dominated by Tom Hardy. Like the 2011 with this, and then 2012. Right, I mean, like,
Dark
Chris
Knight.
Nolan was like, "Oh yeah, I want to put him into my Batman movie." Yeah, like it's just like, like still an unknown factor at this time. So watching this back to back with Inception, I think it was just like, fuck, this guy's one to watch. I really enjoy Tom Hardy's performance in this. I love the. I love the differentiating factors between the two brothers. I like that Joel Edgerton, and I'm talking in the ring here. I love that Joel Edgerton's character, Brendan, is more surgical. Like he's a bit more kind of like, let me go ahead and block for fuck's sake.
Right.
Let me go ahead and try and like maneuver around this guy. Whereas Tom Hardy is a fucking jackhammer. He's just like, let me just power through this and, without any remorse and just leave the cage. Which, by the way, is super disrespectful. This is supposed to be it tells you so much about Tom Hardy's character and his mindset that he just leaves the cage after the thing. And I'm just like, fuck, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. It's like Wolverine versus like Robin. Like just this more acrobatic kind of like striking, not about brute force. That may not be the best analogy, but that's just kind of what No,
that's good.
Smarter versus harder, kind of.
Totally. And then also justifying each of their motivations for doing this, right?
Mhm.
I mean, like Joel Edgerton, you'll lose your house. You have 2 kids, you have a wife. I mean, hey, that's fair enough. Honestly, do what you got to do. And then Tom Hardy's motivation, which doesn't come into the film until quite a bit in. You don't really realize why he's doing this.
Right.
What's really driving him.
I like the slow reveal. It's good.
Totally. Because that first moment when you see that kind of like cut away to the Marines at that camp and, one of the Marines like spots Tom Hardy dropping that motherfucker in the gym. You're just like, what is this? Like, did he kill someone accidentally? Is he after, like, is he on the run from the military or like, what's going on?
Is he Superman? Is it like, he's saying, and like literally Superman's doing like a UFC thing just because he's insecure and he needs to prove himself. Because he runs in there and he like KOs motherfuckers like one hit. And I was like, is he like Iron Fist or something? Like, is he going there and cheating?
Fucking adamantium.
Yeah.
But I love I love the aesthetic of this movie. It's shot on film, 35 mil, and you can see the grain just swimming in every
Love
scene.
that.
Like,
Love
it is, yeah. It really adds to the gray factors of the movie, like just how dark it is. But also at the end of the movie and the way it ends, I love that it ends on a positive note. Like, it's very, I love that neither one of them loses. Like, obviously Joel Edgerton wins it, right? I mean, like in the ring, but there's a factor, like there's just something really, really heartwarming about the fact that they've somewhat reconciled their differences. Like, this is a brotherhood that's just like, a relationship that's been fractured by their father and, by their parental differences. And, where Tom Hardy's just like, we're never going to get that back. We're never going to get that back. And Joel Edgerton's just kind of like, receded into, I've got my family. I don't care about my other family anymore. I've got my family now. I like, there's just something about that when they reconcile their differences. It's just really, really heartwarming. And I really, really dug that ending. Nick Nolte, fucking powerhouse in this movie, dude. Yeah. Like nominated for Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor as well. Like
he looks like he would do the voice of the Thing from Fantastic Four. Like his voice is just got, you got this thing. And Tommy, I don't really know. Oh man.
I think we roasted him quite a bit on the Tropic Thunder episode. You take your charges, your bombs, your grenades, all the detonators you got, and you throw them on those limp dick people without their personal assistance.
Have you seen
throw them in the real shit? No, I haven't actually.
Dude,
with Eddie Murphy?
It's great. Those movies are great, dude. It's 48 hours. I think another 48 hours is the sequel. But there is one more thing interesting too about like the three of them, where it's like each one of them almost kind of comes from like a failed institution in a weird way, where it's like, you know, he went to the army and, you know, things didn't work out for him there. Joel Edgerton is a teacher, and it still is not enough to cover, you know, it still wasn't this thing. And then also the father, you know, is going to church, and he was also in the military. And it's like these men of like institutions that have like trouble once that institution is like, you know, that thing, basically you joined up and dedicated to this thing, but it still didn't quite pan out like you would hope it would, you know, and that sucks. Teachers are not paid enough. Obviously, like Tommy, you know, ended up being like in a friendly fire incident. Like they're all like, not that they're victims, but like they all kind of have trouble within those institutions that they're a part of. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Not
those institutions are also like their support systems, right? So like once their support systems in their institutions fail them, who else do they have to turn to but their family, right? I mean, like, you know, Tom Hardy goes straight back to his father. Like, you know, like it's I completely understand what you mean. So.
Right, yeah. I like that. And there's some religious kind of like image, like I feel like there's like a Cain and Abel thing, you know, going on. Like I like that, especially with, you know, Patty. He kind of looks, you know, I think that's what God would look like. He probably looked like Nick Nolte. No, I'm just kidding. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Can you imagine, dude?
Yeah.
I will smite you.
Yeah. Yeah, welcome to heaven. I'll have a scotch. You know what I loved him
standing there. He's standing there at the pearly gates. It is just like,
dude. He was Eric Bana's dad in Hulk, and I loved him in that. Dude, he is so over the top in that, but it's so Nolte and it's so good, dude.
There's unleashes the hounds.
Yeah, you forget how good he is. Cape Fear and shit. Like you forget how good he is.
Cape Fear, dude. But this might be like, and I'm gonna say, in terms of his quote recent work. I mean, this movie's 10 years old, which is fucking mind blowing to me. But like, in terms of his like most recent work, right? I mean, this is way up there in terms of a performance, man. Like he's a powerhouse in this.
Yeah.
Couple of other guys that I really wanted to mention, dude. First time I've seen Frank Grillo in a movie. This was before I saw him in Captain America. He's huge now, dude. I love Frank Grillo. Like he's always a great presence.
He's the Punisher that never was and should have been, and that fucking pisses me off, dude. And it's like, dude. I mean, no offense to Tom Jane or John Barenthal, but like Frank Grillo is like, dude, you were born like that's who you should have been. I can't picture anybody. He's in The Purge, and he's driving around with like
the Purge,
guns and has like, I was like, come on, dude, you're supposed to be the Punisher.
He's got the armored car.
I was like, come on.
Yeah. Another guy I really wanted to mention is Maximiliano Hernandez.
Oh.
Fuck, sorry. He plays Colt Boyd. He's kind of like that. The gym. When Tom Hardy walks in, he's the guy that's running the gym there. He's also in Captain America, Winter Soldier. He plays Agent Sitwell, who also drops. He's the first one who dropped the name Doctor Strange in the MCU. So you might recognize him. He was also in Sicario. He had a huge part in Sicario. Brian Callen also playing himself. Brian Callen.
I guess Joe Rogan was busy.
Yeah. You know what? I was reading on IMDb. It was like Brian Callen modeled his character after Joe Rogan, and they are friends. And I'm just like, well, yeah, fucking idiots.
Sherlock. Like
Jesus Christ. Dude, Brian Callen, he fucking makes me laugh, man. Like, he'll always be that guy in The Hangover to me. Like, you know, the guy in the church.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, the $100 package. Yes. Come here, man, you, this crazy bastard, you.
He was, growing up, he was in Mad TV. That's what I watched him from, like, all the time. And now he was doing a podcast and stuff like that. But yeah, I remember, I was like, dude, that guy's been around forever. But it is kind of random because I was like, dude, literally, you're just supposed to be Joe Rogan. But I was like, but Joe Rogan, if he wasn't taking like human growth hormone, you know, like, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
You don't look like a boulder. Yeah. The last person I met. Oh, go on.
No, I think the guy who directed this is like the head of the one funding all of this. And they're like, oh, you left the marketing world, blah, blah, blah. I think that's the guy who directed this.
What do you mean?
There's like a scene where they're interviewing a guy, and they're like, you left the finance world, and he's the one putting all this on.
That's Gavin. Yes,
Yeah.
that's Gavin O'Connor. Yeah,
I thought that was cool.
Sorry. Yep. No, he's the one who's putting up the $5 million pot. Yeah, that's
right.
it.
Right.
Gavin O'Connor. I haven't seen too many of his movies. I've seen The Accountant that he directed with Ben Affleck and Anna Kendrick. Not bad. Not a terrible movie. Not bad.
I didn't check it
He
out.
made a movie called Pride and Glory with Edward Norton and Colin Farrell. It's a cop drama. It's okay.
Yeah.
But his one of his later movies actually. Shit. Sorry, I'm forgetting the name of the Way Back. So it stars Ben Affleck. Yeah, it's about drinking, coming back from it. It's really good, really solid. And he also executive produced a TV show I just finished called The Mayor of Easttown with Kate Winslet. Really solid, like really good.
Word.
But yeah, man. Oh, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention him. Kevin Dunn, the guy who plays the principal.
Oh,
Love
dude, yeah, he's fucking awesome. He's like
him.
that guy always turns up in stuff. And you said
Right.
Kevin Dunn?
Kevin Dunn. Yeah,
Kevin Dunn. Yeah, he always pops up, and you're like, I love that guy. I always forget about him.
totally, dude. Well, he was the dad in Small Soldiers, right?
Yes, and then in like Transformers. And
Transformers. Yeah.
Was
So much shit.
Was he in Heavyweights? No, that was Jeffrey Tambor. Jeffrey Tambor is the dad in Heavyweights. Never mind. You'd seen Heavyweights, have you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're too old for it now. It's a fat kid camp movie with Ben
I
Stiller,
watch gay shit.
and he tortures
Oh
a bunch of fat kids.
hold on. I've heard of it. Yeah. Definitely heard of that. Yeah.
I was like, well, if you didn't catch it as a kid, you're probably. I mean, it's funny now. It's not bad. I think Judd Apatow had something to do with it. I know it's
that might be it. It sounds really it sounds like someone maybe I heard it on Hey Do You Remember? Like I think they mentioned it once.
Oh, dude, yeah, I listened to their episode when that came out. But I think he directed it or something like that. I might be totally wrong, but whatever. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Let's get into this. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
So we open on this kind of like 10-minute scene, right? Like this opens really. It doesn't open with a bang or anything like that. It just opens with Nick Nolte leaving work, coming home, and being confronted by Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
This is a heavy way to open your movie, right? I mean, there's a lot that they're laying down here. Like Tommy looks like he's when Nolte rocks up, and Tommy's just sitting there on the stoop, and he's just like, man, when'd you get back? Like and Tommy offers him the bottle, and he's like, I don't do that anymore, dude. Like there is some heavy shit going on in the behind the scenes. Tommy comes in and looks around at the photos, and he looks like there's an air of like disgust. There's an air of like, this is fucking shit. What do you think about this opening scene?
Well, and I think Tommy's got this kind of like, you're romanticizing people that don't even fucking care about you, that you haven't talked to in years. But at first it kind of threw me off, because here he's actually a lot more talkative, and he brings him a bottle to drink. Like, it seems like he's actually being like kind of nice to him at first. And it's like, oh, that's okay, whatever. But then it's like, after this, it's like, he's like, don't touch me, don't wake me up, don't fuck with me. And it's like, that's weird. Like, I just thought it was interesting that like Tommy never offers his father anything in the entire movie but a bottle of liquor. And he never talks to him. He doesn't want him to touch him. Like, I just thought that was kind of interesting. But I like this first scene just because at first you're like, man, Nick Nolte, it's a nice guy, old guy going to church. And then he's like, oh, no, this guy's actually kind of a piece of shit. Like, this guy's kind of an ass.
Well, yeah, I mean, and like it's all, I love that it comes out through Tom Hardy's character, Tommy. Like, it's not a, like that is the best exposition that you can kind of give, right? Like a character kind of like coming home, someone who has like disdain or disgust for their father, and then kind of like expositing that, like, being like, hey, you were a fucking drunk. You made our childhood fucking hell. And then like, oh, what? You found God? Okay, cool. Where was God when, mom and I were like, living in squalor? Where was he?
Right.
I just think it's awesome.
Yeah, well, yeah, I like this because it's like he set up this shrine to like all these people, and it's like, dude, yeah, none of these people want jack shit to do with you. It's fucking sad, really, when you think about it.
Right. If I was Nick Nolte, dude, and I heard the line, sorry, hold on, I gotta set this up. If I was Nick Nolte and I wasn't talking as jacked as Tom Hardy, If I heard the line, I liked you better when you were drunk, I would fucking destroy that asshole, dude. I'd just be like,
Jesus.
fuck you, man.
Well, yeah, and that's just like saying that to a guy who's almost like 1,000 days sober, and yeah, I get it. Like, yeah, he's fucked up and he's done things, but in this moment, it's like, you know, you came to his house and just started this shit and offered him, and he's like, no, okay. Like, I don't know. At first, you're kind of like, man, I like Nick Nolte, and then as time goes on, you're like, yeah, something bad must have went down. And I love the fact they never say what exactly happened.
Mhm.
They never like, you took mom and you broke her arm, blah blah. So it's just, I assume something of that caliber happened where she was almost beat to death, or maybe he broke something, or I don't know. I just love that it's kind of ambiguous.
No, yeah, totally. We get a look in on Brendan, right? We meet Brendan and his family at this party, daughter's birthday party, and we get a sense that money's tight, right? I mean, like the wife's immediately just like, "Hey, that's a big present. It's a big gift." You want to talk about? But I love that he's like, it's our daughter's birthday. Like, come on, dude. Like, let's just pull out all the stops here. And then like they get to talking a bit later, and they mention the whole kind of like, hey, don't come home with like a black eye or something. Like, she doesn't know about
Right.
his kind of like exploits, right? And
Right.
he's just like, it was just a frat house, like I was marking papers, whatever. Which is interesting to me because like at this point in the movie, you don't know that he's moonlighting, right? Like you don't know that he's going out there and, busting heads.
Right, yeah. And as much as I want to like Brandon, I'm like, dude, you're kind of living beyond your means here is what it feels like, dude. Because, like, I mean, this house is huge. Like, this is a nice house. Like, you might be living a little bit more than you can handle, man. Like, I don't know. That's just me. And I think that it's a pride thing of, like, you want your kids to have the best. And I think that, like, I think there's people that take that to the extreme, and it's more of like a pride thing. And it's like, no, like I will bend over backwards and go in debt to prove. And it's like, who are you really proving that to? It's like half the time the kids play with the fucking box, like I mean, I've had so many, dude, I learned very quickly not to buy. Kid. Like, well, I mean, I had so many like nieces and nephews where it was like, don't buy anything expensive because A, it's going to be destroyed soon. And then they're going to play with the box for like the first half hour. I was like, okay, cool.
I was never that kid, dude. I'm just shit. No, I don't want the fucking cardboard box. Give me the Nintendo 64, bitch. But yeah, Tommy signs up for the gym, Fitzy's old place, right? We find out that Brendan is a teacher. Pretty, like, he gets along with his students pretty well. Like, he's very personable. Like, I love the the girl texting under the fucking thing. Like, it's good. It's
I thought she was like taking a picture of him while I was like, oh, is that girl trying to fuck him? I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, okay, never mind. That's not what happened.
Hey, this is something that Joel Edgerton does really well. Like the whole kind of like, yeah, like you said, dude, the everyman, the everyday kind of feel. Like when he plays Gordo in The Gift, he's unsettling because he's trying to be, because Gordo is because by the nature of that movie, it's a mystery. You don't know who Gordo is until the plot kind of like unravels itself. But like here, you're made to think that he is an everyman and like he is the underdog, and he calls himself the underdog, right? Like that's one of the reasons he resents his father, because his father was someone who always supported Tommy, who is the clear winner in almost every fight, right? And not the underdog, right? Like this is, right. I love like casting someone like Joel Edgerton, who mostly is an unknown in cinema at this point, right? I mean, 2011, he had done stuff, but I think he'd only done, like, in terms of big movies, like Animal Kingdom that I talked about a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah, Star Wars maybe.
Right, exactly. Right, yeah, just tiny little thing. But like, he's not a household name, right? Like now you and I know who Joel Edgerton is. So
I have a funny story. I watched an interview with him. He goes, yeah, so I would tell people when I went to do a movie, they would, I would have my resume and I would be like, oh, I was in Star Wars. And they're like, I didn't tell them what I did in Star Wars. I just told them I was in Star Wars. I was like, that's awesome, dude.
That's how you sell yourself in Hollywood, dude.
Yeah. He's brilliant. And I think he is an amazing actor, but also he can live in anonymity, kind of. He's not like a Brad Pitt or like a Leo DiCaprio. Like, I would love to clone his career like that. I would love to have that, where it's like, yeah, I'm sure someone's going to recognize you, but like most people, you know, Joel Edgerton is not a household name, you know.
Well, live in anonymity is right, dude. Like, I mean, like I talked about a couple of weeks ago, that show with Nick Kroll, and he's just sitting there in the crowd, and no one knew it was Joel Edgerton. He's wearing a hat, kind of thing, you know.
Right.
He's got like his like long hair, like coming down to his shoulders nearly. Like, no one had any idea who the fuck he was. So yeah, 100%. But yeah, Tommy signs up for this gym. Like, he's a presence, you know. Like as soon as he walks in, he's just kind of like this dark cloud, and like I know that that's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be this ominous, you know, unknown, because like we don't know much about him or anything like that. But like you can tell he's been wronged, or something's wrong with him, or something. He is anger personified in this movie, I think.
Right. Well, and that's, you know, there's some parts where I don't know if it's his performance or if it's just like it's almost annoying how just like unrelentingly just like like Jesus, you know, it's I think there's like I hit a point of annoyance with that where I'm like, God, dude, just can you laugh? Can you crack a smile? Like nothing's going, you know. But there's something about like there's subtle things that he does really well, but I think that when he kind of starts talking more is when I kind of lose it, because I'm like, I don't love, you know, his I guess like his dialect in this. It's kind of like Rocky, you know, who's going like, I don't know, what do you know, it's got this weird, dark, like kind of low thing to it. It's like, I like it more when he's like, yeah, okay, sure, yeah, whatever, you know, and like he's not saying a lot. And I do like that about him though, is what like there's a mystery to him. And I think that mystery, I don't really love his dialect in this. And I think that him giving more information kind of lets more of the mystery away of him, you know, because our first impression is like, we're not right there. But when he fucking beats the shit out of that guy, holy hell, like Jesus Christ, that's your first real big impression of him besides the, you know, scene with Nolte.
Well, yeah, we're here, right? Like the fight with Mad Dog. Dude, this is I love the dick measuring contest, right? I mean, like, I love the I love the whole preamble to it. Like, Tommy comes up, he's like, "Hey, look, I can fight him," and then it's just like, "No. You get back to fighting you go back to punching your bag. We don't want you to get hurt." And fucking Mad Dog says something about Rocky, whatever. Like, I don't know, does a Rocky quote, and then like, you know, that sparks him. And they get into it. Dude, did you see that fucking vampire-looking motherfucker? Like, watching them, their fucking face tattoos? Jesus Christ.
Dude, yeah. He looks like
shit.
He looks like Kurt Barlow in fucking Salem's Lot. That dude in the coffin who's all bald and shit. Like, it's like, Jesus, hell.
Yeah. But I mean, like, Tommy spectacularly destroys Mad Dog, right? Like,
he starts with a Spartan kick.
Yeah. But look at the way, and like, look, again, I'm not an MMA enthusiast or anything like that. I barely know what I'm looking at, but I know a hard punch or a hard kick when I see it, and like they do such a good job in this movie to make it believable, to make the actual combat believable. Because, you know, like, I mean, if we go back and watch the early Rocky movies, they're not punching each other. Like, you know, like, well, no, they're not making contact.
I think a big chunk of this is like, yes, choreography and yes, like the actors working together, but the sound design is like the like, dude, that's a huge factor in this movie. And I think that if you get that right and you sync up your punches and stuff, like there's some definitely Rocky 3 is the worst one where they're like miles away. Rocky 3 is terrible. I hate that movie. Love 4 and I love 2.
The one with Clubber Lang, right? That's the one?
Right, yeah. Yep. Mr. T. Except for Mickey dying. That part's fucking incredible. Stallone's great. But Rocky 3, not all that great. Yeah, I like, you owe me $200. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's all, dude, I love how he just leaves him hanging there against the ropes like that.
Yes. Fuck. That feels like King Schultz from Django. Basically, you owe me $200.
That's awesome. But yeah, like this gets recorded, right? I mean, like someone's recording it with their iPhone. Dude, I'm just like, dude, when I watch movies like this that are made in 2011, I'm just like, oh, so you were recording with like a 2 megapixel phone or some shit, like piece of shit. We cut over to Brendan, who's at the bank. Dude, I love this guy. Noah Emmerich.
Mm-hmm. He's
Super 8.
Truman Show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't he the guy at the CDC in the first season of Walking Dead? Isn't he the guy who's the only guy left?
Been a while
That's the
since
only season I ever watched that show. Maybe
He's
I'm
in
thinking of a different guy.
He's in a bunch of things, dude. He's in The Americans. Like, he's in so many things, man. But I think the first, I mean, like, not the first thing, but I think whenever I think of him, I think of Super 8. He's the seedy government bureaucrat guy.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. I'm pretty sure, yeah, Emmerich began to portray the prominent guest roles. Yeah, he was in Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. He lays it out for Brendan, right? I mean, hey, hi. You don't have that many options, dude. You are.
Hey, what if he's like, unless you go and you sign up and you win a UFC tournament for a purse of $5 million, I don't think that we're going to be able to do anything for you. He's like, oh, yeah, this guy might as well just be like, you know, like just a bumbling idiot. His shirt should be untucked in the front. He's like, oh, yeah, something happened to your daughter. What is it, her kidneys? He's like, it's her heart. He goes, yeah, a lot of stories. It's like, what an asshole, dude. Like, this guy should just be, he should be blowing cigarette smoke just directly in his face.
He goes, just straight up giving him cancer. He goes, dude, he's like, option A, bankruptcy. Option B, foreclosure. Option C, $5 million at a UFC tournament. Go for it.
I'm the mastermind behind all this, by the way. The bank guy at the beginning. he's the shadowy guy that funded all of this.
It'll be my signature on the foreclosures agreement.
I did it for you, Brendan.
Oh shit. But he's good, man. I love whenever Noah Emmerich pops up and stuff. Like, he's a good presence. Then we get I keep forgetting the guy's name. Colt Boyd showing up at Nick Nolte's place. Yeah. You know, looking for Tommy. Interesting that Tommy wrote his address as that address, right?
Right.
It's kind of like he was already. I wonder what the thinking of that was. Like, you know, kind of like he was like, when he signed up for the gym, whether he was already anticipating asking Nick Nolte to train him.
Oh shit! Oh, sorry. Jake scared the fuck out of me, dude.
Fuck.
I heard something.
Shit.
I heard something, and I was like, "What the fuck is?" And then I saw, "Oh, Jake messaged you," and that's when this beer comes around. I was like, ah!
"What up?
Hey, that's."
I'll get down here.
Hey,
holy shit, dude!
Oh, here we go.
This is Colin's friend on the podcast, and he looks like Thor.
Oh, what's up, dude?
I forgot you said you recorded in your closet, and I was like, "What is that?"
Who is that, Tum? There's wax in the fridge too, and there's like a dab kit or whatever.
I'm gonna wait.
Yeah, go for it, and then play whatever the Xbox is in there. Okay. Like, so we're already in the second episode.
Yeah, take your time.
Word. Take him with you.
Come on, bud.
He's like, okay. Thanks, dude. Oh. Okay, sorry about that. That scared the fuck out of me. What was your question about training him?
Yeah. So, what did you think Tom Hardy's like thinking was when he puts his dad's address down on the application of the gym, like for the gym, right? Because he's like, he's got all of this like hatred for his father, but like when he put his name down, do you reckon he was already planning on asking him to train him?
I don't know. I'm not 100% like sold on it. You know, I think that maybe it's like, well, also, where the fuck is Tommy staying? You know, is he just staying in like a hotel room? Is he homeless? Like, where is he staying? You know, because ultimately it is him that goes to Nick Nolte and it's like, hey, I want you to train me, but none of this, you know, father-son bullshit. You know, we'll just, you know, literally you're just going to train me and that's it. So I don't know. I feel like it's maybe just, I think it can go either way. I think it could be something intentional. Like, I'm doing this to kind of bait you. Excuse me, because I really want you to be a part of this, but I'm not going to really admit it. Or if like literally I don't think there's anybody else that could train him. You know, he said he doesn't train with people he doesn't know. So, you know, makes sense.
I think there's a running theme in this movie about support systems. Like we already talked about it already, right? Like with the institutions kind of like failing you as a support system. So you kind of like have to rely on your family, right? Relying on the support system that you were born into. So I think Tommy putting his name down, putting Nick Nolte's, I can't remember Nick Nolte's real name, to be honest, so I'm going to keep calling him Nick Nolte. Patty. I'm going to keep, like, you know, like I think him putting Patty's name down is just kind of like an example of like, hey, everything's failed you, you've got nothing left, but here's your dad's address because he's your dad. You've got nowhere else to go.
Right. It's like if you're staying in a hotel room, you can put the hotel's address. You'll get your mail. You'll get mail there.
Yeah. Can we talk about the tender trap and what kind of services that they provide there?
The what? Is that the name of the strip club?
Yes, it is.
I didn't catch the name of it. It's the tender trap?
The tender trap.
See, the trap is a verb that shouldn't be in a strip club's name, where it's like you might as well just be like the FBI operation, like the FBI stings, like I was just like, what? Like the temper trap. That made me think of I think there's actually a band. Yeah. Sweet disposition.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good song. Do you like that song?
Yeah, I dig the song. I mean, like I've seen them live.
We almost never agree on music, so I was kind of like, do you like that song?
But yeah, the tender trap, dude. Did you see the sign? It's like one of those neon light signs with the girl just like going up and down the pole. It's like,
oh yeah, okay. It's like suck your dick, suck your dick, suck your dick. Like
we show tits, we show tits. No grab policy. No grab policy.
Right.
Oh man. But it's funny because like the way they set this up is like they show you the sign of the tender trap, and as Brendan's pulling in, he's talking to his wife, and he's like, I'm gonna have to go, like he's like they got an open mic thing going on, like he's clearly lying. So I love that the setup is like he's going to the strip club because like, he doesn't want the wife to know. But really, he's got to go fucking get his face bashed in.
He's like, oh, it's an open mic thing. And it's the Temper Trap, the band. And it's an open mic. It's like, oh, what a coincidence.
They're just up there.
Yeah, and also like
find out that Brendan's a fighter, right?
Yeah, and what's interesting about his fight style is it's kind of, he's not like he's somewhat of a tactician, but he's got to take damage to kind of get in there and get everything figured out. It seems like he's a bit of a slow start. Like he always starts on the defensive and kind of works his way to offensive. And he's kind of like a tap artist. Like he taps out a lot of people in this. Tommy doesn't tap out anybody. I feel like Tommy would be Mike Tyson and Brandon would be, not like Ali, but a little bit more of a tactician when it came to boxing. Something that wasn't
Floyd.
Just pure force.
I put him closer to Floyd because Floyd, and like again, I don't watch too much boxing, but I like the big exhibition matches. There's one tomorrow with Floyd and one of the Paul brothers. I can't remember if it's Logan or Jake.
I can't wait. He's gonna get his ass kicked.
Fucking idiots! So I can't wait to see him get his.
I was so disappointed that Ben Askren lost to the other dude, and I was like,
it's to Logan, to Jake, but like, yeah, they're both fucking assholes, and I can't. I don't even know how they have a following. So they're big on YouTube, but that's it. But like,
they're like the white Kardashians. I just couldn't fucking care. Like,
yeah, like I can't wait to see them get their asses handed to them because Floyd he's a dumbass in real life. Like he can't spell or can't put fucking words together for shit.
I heard he was illiterate. Yeah,
dude. There's a.
I'm not trying to make it like I heard legitimately that he can't read very well. Or
that's,
I was
that's
like,
true.
oh,
that's true.
Well,
because
I guess you punch things for a living.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a video that came out after his fight, him and Manny Pacquiao's fight not too long ago, and basically it's the interviewer's like, "What do you think about the magnitude of this fight?" And like. Floyd's just like, oh, this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. The magnitude, like his face, like, dude, when he's trying to register the word magnitude, he's like, magnitude is unbelievable. Yeah, dude, it's so good.
Do you ever see the video of him mocking Manny Pacquiao and he's like, I'm gonna make that motherfucker make me sushi and blah blah. And it was like, oh my god, wow. Like that's so distasteful, man. Like,
oh, totally. but like it doesn't come close to any of the shenanigans that like Conor McGregor and the UFC guys like throw towards each other, man. Like it's crazy. But like, sorry, the reason I bring up Floyd is because Floyd is a tactician. He waits. Like there is. If you watched the. And again, exhibition match, Floyd versus McGregor, right? I mean, like, because McGregor is, he's a loudmouth, right? I mean, like, he's someone who whatever. But like McGregor puts on the gloves. It's not even his sport, right? And McGregor comes out swinging hard, right? First couple rounds, he's got no patience, right? Like he's wanting to drop Floyd in the first couple rounds, and Floyd just waits and waits and waits and just takes whatever Conor is dishing out and dodges it. And then, like, he uses it to his advantage in the later rounds when Conor is just gassed. He's just fucking out of energy.
Right.
There's nothing left to him.
How fast do UFC fights stop versus how long do boxing matches go for?
Yeah.
Like UFC,
Dude,
it's like, dude,
12 rounds of 3 minutes? Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, it's crazy.
Right.
My brother goes, I was over at my parents yesterday. I can't remember. We were talking about boxing. Oh, because one of the footy players also does boxing. And my brother goes, yeah, I can do boxing. I'm just like, dude, you're way more than me. You cannot last 3 minutes in one round. I guarantee you. Someone's chasing you around the ring for 3 minutes. There's no way, dude. Do you know what kind of like agility you need and like how?
Well, and the gloves, professional gloves. I think they're like 16 ounces, 12 ounces, something like that.
Sorry,
I boxed
a
little bit. No. I actually boxed a tiny bit, like just like backyard stuff, with just like some friends and stuff like that. And one of them actually broke my nose, and we were boxing. We'd go for like 2 or 3 minutes, and somebody would stop us, and we'd rest for like a minute or two, and then nothing really like crazy. But I ended up busting both the contact lenses out of him. Like, he was like, yeah, at one point I was just like blind because you would hit me and just knock these contacts. Shit. But we were standing there and everyone's like, okay, cool, you got 10 seconds. And I was like, dude, I'm going to throw a jab just as hard as I can right at him. And he was like, he's going to throw a jab. And I threw it, and he just took one step back, crossed over my arm, and just came in, not on the front of my nose, on the side.
Just rocked you.
Oh, dude, it was like instantly I couldn't see any like water in my like. Oh, dude, it was awful. And I got a tooth chipped. I had a chip in my teeth from that. Yeah, but it was fun, dude. I love what you get hit in the face those first 10 or 12 times. Like, okay, I can handle this. You're
awake.
I'm good. I'm good.
It's funny that we both have chipped tooths because yours is from fighting, mine is from biting down on a fork too hard. Teeth, sorry.
Chipped tooths? Jesus Christ. So biting on a fork. Of course you would.
Yeah, I was hungry. Dude, before we move on, quick fact. Conor McGregor lost that fight, still made $100 million.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that's why like the Paul brothers and shit, it's like, you think Ben Askren cares? He got paid, I don't know how much, just to go in there and get box a little bit. Come on, dude.
Yeah, Brendan ends up rocking this guy, right? Again, love his fight style. Dude, Edgerton is in shape. Holy fuck. Yeah. Both of them are in shape. But I mean, like, I always knew Tom Hardy was. But Edgerton in The Gift as Gordo, because he's always wearing those baggy clothes, right? Like, you're never able to tell. I'm just like, holy shit, man. He got fucking, like, ripped for this role. Shit.
Right. And their body compositions, too, are just totally different beasts. It's like more, his is more of like that wrestler athletic kind of thing.
Lean.
Right. It's very, like what Cameron said, it's like about T2, it's like the Porsche versus the tank. It feels like one's more of like one's more of the lion and the other one's a little bit more of like a cheetah,
Yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about that a bit closer to when he's fighting that Cobra guy, Kurt Angle, by the way.
Yeah. There's your one wrestling reference, Patrick. Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle, the Olympic gold medalist.
I knew who that was right off the rip. He was in wrestling when I was actually watching it. Yeah. Like Rey Mysterio and a bunch of people were in it and stuff.
Yeah. I'll save. Yeah, you know what? I'll save that conversation for a bit later down the track because there is something that I want to talk about their body, like actual physiques. But like, so Brendan comes home. And his wife sees all the damage, right? I mean, like, yeah. She's
I was hoping she would be like, what have you been doing? He's like, all right, I have a confession. I'm Batman. And she's like, you're Batman.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm Batman.
Yeah. But I love the like this is so sad. Like, this is a sad scene because like he seems so, although yes, he just won that fight, he seems so defeated. Like, he's just like, I went to apply. The bank told me what's what. And, you know, like I even like went for the bouncing job at the strip club. They were paying $9 an hour. Then I saw the sign.
Right.
Like it speaks to, and like, you know, I've never lived in the US. Yes, I've visited, but like I don't know what the economy is like in terms of like jobs, like other than what you've told me. You know, in the service industry, it's garbage. I'd imagine in the security industry, it'd be also garbage. So like having like being pushed in a corner enough to literally have your body broken just so you can support your family, I feel like that's a little relatable, right?
Well, especially $9 an hour is like, I mean, it's above minimum wage. That's the crazy thing.
Wow.
You know, that's not a terrible, like, I guess like starting wage for someone in high school is like 15 or something, you know, who just gets some extra scratch. But like, you know, you do see some jobs, especially around here, a lot of warehouses and stuff, like $15, $16 an hour, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, getting paid $9 an hour to deal with these fucking drunks all night and stuff versus just going in there and wearing this guy out for 15 minutes and making $500 a pop, you know, or more, you know. But the thing he's talking about too are just the guys who never really go anywhere. They just fight the same guys in like their weight league kind of around the same area.
Yeah, they've just watched a couple of matches on UFC on TV, and yeah, they think they know what's what. Yeah,
right.
We get this amazing diner scene between Nolte and Tom Hardy. This is I love these scenes, and you know I love the fight scenes in this movie, but it's these scenes in particular that really make the movie for me. Like these conversations between the characters. Yeah. And this is where I was really noticing the film grain. Like it's like Gavin O'Connor was just like, let's amp it up. Let's amp it up.
I feel like Nick Nolte is like Philip Seymour Hoffman 20 years in the future.
Oh yeah.
You know? Like he's kind of got that like look to him where it's like take him and the Master and remove his mustache, and that's what Nick Nolte looks like right here.
It sucks that we were never able to see that though.
Yeah, I know. The thing I love, he's like, you walked in here and sounded like a fucking maraca. I laughed out
that
loud,
he knew
dude.
It was 3 though. Like I love like Tom Hardy's like puts 1 on the counter, 2 on the counter, and then he's like, no, 3.
It was, and it's like, oh man,
it's good, man.
I worked in a restaurant. I can tell you that's true. You could hear some servers like a mile away, dude.
Oh shit!
Just it sounded like somebody with Tic Tacs just running around the corner, and you're like, okay,
that's wild because I was like, man, Nick Nolte's got a good ear.
Oh yeah, dude. We had somebody at work once. They're like, listen, this is how many people, and he held up a thing of aspirin, and he just shook it, and like 4 people turned around and looked, and we're just like, hey, and he's like, it's a bottle of aspirin, you fucking assholes.
But I love this, right? I mean, like, I love that Tommy's reaching out for help, but he's not acknowledging anything else. Like, he just wants help training. He doesn't, like, he lays out the fact that this is not, he's not conceding to the fact of wanting Paddy back in his life, right? He's like, I just want you to train me. That's it. I don't want you back as a father. I don't want you back at all.
Right.
Just train me because, man, I love Nolte's like response. He's like, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And I'm just like, damn, that's good.
Yeah.
That's fucking heavy.
Yeah.
Some good shit.
I love that quote. Certain managers would be like, God, thank God that guy got transferred. You know, I hate that guy. You know, and be like, well, he's better than the person that might come though. It's like, yeah, I didn't think about that.
There you go. And I love that Nolte flips this on his head, right? I mean, like Paddy completely manages to take control of this conversation. This is such a flip of that first conversation that opened the movie where Tommy is just laying into Paddy, right? Just laying into him.
Right.
Because now, like, Paddy recognizes that, oh, hold on. Like, I've got the upper hand. Tommy's over here asking for my help. He's just like, no, I'm going to set the rules. You listen to me whenever, like, I tell you to do something. Give me the pills. You called me. Like, let's fucking go. Like, you know, I love that.
Right.
I love
Paddy
becoming
he
a bit
knows
more
when he's got room.
Yeah.
Right. He knows when he's got room to kind of plant his feet. You know, I like that.
Right. Totally. Back at the school, everyone's talking because Brendan's got a black eye. He's been fucking rocked from the night before. This reminds me of a time when a teacher walked into our school with a black eye, and we were,
oh shit,
dude, I'm not even kidding. Everyone was talking about it in class, and everyone was talking about it at lunch. It was wild. You want to know the fucking wild card factor, the teacher
What?
is also a priest.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah,
so it's
what?
also like not only should you not be having a black eye as a teacher, but as a fucking priest, you should not be having a black eye. What the fuck?
Right. That's a double, like, I mean, you know, maybe you got into tennis. Maybe a ball came and hit you in the face or something. Or maybe as a priest, maybe
He got fucking knocked out by an aggrieved child's father or something.
Right. I was going to say, like, maybe you got a little handsy and somebody walloped you one. But yeah, did they ever find out, like, what it was?
Well, I mean, that's the thing with this movie, right? Because when the kids ask the principal later, the principal openly acknowledges that the teachers are, like, you know, suspended for fighting, right? We never found out that the school is never going to tell us that in any shape, like in any way.
Right.
Because they're obviously trying to prevent this from getting out to parents as much as possible, right? So there is in no world would the principal acknowledge the suspension of a teacher because the teacher was out fighting on his spare time. There's no way.
Yeah. And I love the principal is Milton England from Ghostbusters 2. I have a strong psychic premonition of the world in
the way
on New Year's Eve.
I know we talked about it in the podcast, but the way he looks like it's affecting his head. Like it just giving him
like sticks his tongue out. He's like,
it's giving him a headache. He's like, the world is gonna end on New Year's Eve.
And he looks around, he's like, whew, I feel better. It's like, all right. It's like, well, for your sake, I hope you're wrong.
On the next episode, hairless cats. Weird.
Yeah. Weird.
But yeah, I love the way he just kind of like pops up at the door and he's just like 5 minutes in my office. We need to talk, bro.
Yeah. Oh, dude. You know this is coming.
Yeah, totally. So it turns out the Super Nintendo Chalmers of this
I'm learning
of this school district is here today. So Brendan gets reamed out. And honestly, is it rightly so that he gets reamed out? Because there are some jobs where you just can't do other jobs at the same time. Like, as a lawyer, I can't go and do some wild shit because you need to protect your personal integrity, right? Your professional integrity.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think that
go on.
Oh, sorry.
No,
go ahead. Well, I think the thing that damns him is the thing that a student's cousin or something saw him, or something. He was like, "Oh yeah, my brother or cousin or a friend or somebody saw you," and you come to work with a black eye and say, "Hey, I'm okay. Something fell off a shelf and hit me in the like." I've gotten black eyes from turning around and the door was closer than I thought, and I was on my phone or something, and I just smack right into the door. Realistically, you can kind of get away with that once, maybe twice, but the fact that a student saw you is just like, well, there goes that hot air. It just got shot down. This balloon,
Yeah, totally. And like I was contemplating because I'm just like, is this reaming out, this suspension justified? And I think in this case, yes. Like usually I'd be like,
yeah,
fucking it's his spare time, leave him alone. Like, but like if you're dealing with kids, if you're dealing with, parents who would get antsy if the fucking teacher rocks up with scars all over his fucking face, I get that. Like, I understand.
Personally, I wouldn't give a shit.
Well,
I'd be like, yeah, it's fucking awesome,
I wouldn't
dude.
give a shit, dude. Like, I didn't give a fuck.
But it's going to be a problem, Like, it's inevitable.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem. But, like, also, you as the parent don't know that it's from fighting. You'd be like, oh, is this guy fucking involved in a drug deal that went wrong? What the fuck? Like,
Right. Reminds me of Fight Club, that Chuck Palahniuk was like, I showed up to work one day with a black eye and nobody said anything about it. And everybody was talking about it, but nobody said anything directly to me.
I swear it sounds like you said, I showed up to work with a black guy. And I'm just like, what?
With a black guy.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, Brendan and his wife discuss, like, their future, right? Like, he lays it down. He's like, I'm suspended without pay. Well, she actually looks like she took the phone call, right?
Yeah.
Which is weird. I was like, why's she taking the phone call?
Whatever.
All right.
Okay.
But yeah, suspended without pay. Pretty fucking severe penalty.
Yeah. That's pretty drastic.
I mean, if this is the first time, right? I mean, I think this is the first time.
Right. Yeah, and if not, I kind of wish that line was in there. If he'd be like, listen, this is not the first time we've had to, it's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm down with that. But, I think that's a little bit much.
Right. And they talk about, like, how they're going to make money for the future. They talk about, him wanting to join the gym again, get trained. take some fights, right? Some smokers. They call them smokers, the people who are like, pretty easy to fight, pretty easy to drop.
Right.
I love that he's got that confidence about him, right? Like, because he knows his ability, right? Like, he knows his level of ability when it comes to this kind of stuff. So he's like, yeah, I'll just drop a few guys, make $500 a pop. And I love that, like, she considers the children. She's like, well, what are we going to tell him? He's like, look, I'm still going to leave the house at the same time to go to the gym. Just go to work. I'll just go to the gym instead.
Yeah, and I wonder, I'm like, dude, how often can you fight? If you're doing this like twice a month, it's like, yeah, it's $1,000, but you got to be doing something else. You can't just be pulling in $1,000. Like, you got to get some kind of other job. Now, if you're doing this like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times a month, like, hell yeah, that's awesome. I would definitely do it.
Right.
But at some point, like, God, you're going to be exhausted, dude.
Right, totally. We get this scene with Patty and Tommy. Patty's walking up the stairs. Dude, Tommy is a little fucking cunt here. I need your... And I know, look, there's a lot of history here, family history, and that's the point of the movie.
Right.
But, like,
Right.
It's like I can wake myself up too. Like, come on, man. Like, you signed up for this training. This is you.
Right.
Like,
There's parts where it's like he literally does not give Patty an inch, and it's like, come the fuck on, man. Like, just at some point you've got to give some kind of like slack. Now, I will say Nolte's pushing, because he's like, did you continue to wrestle after you left with your mother? And I'm like, dude, you're prying. Like, you're that's Patty's thing too, is he's not subtle. He's very clumsy and he's very rough with like the way he tries to, he just shows up to Brendan's house and he's like trying to push himself into this. It's like, dude, this is going to have to happen like naturally. You're going to have to sit out there. It's like putting food in your hand for an animal. You got to let that animal come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't be chasing that animal.
Yeah, I guess he's pretty. He's kind of like a bull in a china shop when it comes to that kind of stuff, right? Yeah.
Right.
And then we get this, this random cut to a military sequence, and like I thought, watching it again, I was like, oh, is this a flashback? I don't want to see a fucking flashback of this shit. And it turns out it's not, right? Like, it's a pretty good kind of like tease of what's to come, because again, at this point, we don't know why Tommy is doing what he's wanting to do, right? Like, we're 40 minutes into the movie. We don't know why Tommy signed up for the gym. We don't know why he wants to train again. We don't know why he's home. Like, there's none, like, it'll take it, given what's been set up about the family and their, the background, and Tommy is so, I guess, hating towards his father, and so, again, not giving him an inch. Like, it will take a big reason for Tommy to come to Patty and ask for his help, right? And we still don't know that reason at this point.
Right, 100%. That's a big pill that he's going to have to swallow. So it's like, well, what do you gain from swallowing a pill that big? Got to be something there.
Right, totally. What do you think about the scene, actually? Because it is kind of like a tease. Like, it doesn't really answer anything. It's more like... Because at this point, watching it again for this movie, I was like, fuck, is he on the run from a Marine court-martial or something?
Right.
Like, is this...
I kind of laugh when he's like, that's him, and he pulls up a picture, and it's just this guy's face in all green, like, like looking at the screen. I was like, how can you tell that's Tom Hardy?
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, I never would have guessed, it just, I don't know, it just cracked me up. But I thought it was cool. It added this layer of mystery to like, oh, what did this guy do? Like, that's just how the guy going for the tape sells it too, how panicked he is, and how just, come on, give me the fucking tape. He's like throwing shit around, like, okay, is this guy a time traveler you caught on tape or something? Like, like, what happened,
Yeah, no, totally, dude. So Brendan rocks up to the gym the next day, wants to reconnect, wants to train again, reconnects with Frank, aptly named
Frank Castle.
Frank Castle. Well, I mean, like, the character's name is Frank, played by Frank Grillo.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, it's fucking hilarious.
Right. By the way, Frank Grillo, watching him in this, he's relatively small. Like, I mean,
he's not some giant. Yeah,
because like, if you see him now, like, I mean, he made a movie with Joe Carnahan, I think last year, might have been this year, called Boss Level. Like, he got fucking pretty jacked for that. Yeah. He's always been a big dude, but like, watching him back in 2011, I'm just like, man, yeah, you were pretty slender back then, weren't you?
Well, and even he looks so much older in like Civil War.
Yeah.
And
Winter Soldier.
What's the second one? Winter Soldier. Yeah. He looks so much older in those.
Yeah, he does, totally. But I love this scene because there's obviously a history here between Frank and Brendan, but Brendan just, hangs his head down and he says, man, the bank says that they're going to take my house. And I love Frank's first reaction to this is that, how much do you want, man? I got a lot of money tied up in here, but how much do you need?
Right.
And I love that first instinct of like, I'm happy to lend you money, dude. Happy to do it.
I love it. So you're a teacher. What do you think? You're going to come down here a couple days a week after detention?
It's good, man.
That's fucking great.
It's good. But yeah, Frank, agrees to help him out, right? Like, he's just like, well, I'm just going to get my stuff from my car. He's like, wait, now? You want to try now? And he's just like, let's fucking get to it, dude.
The really subtle thing is, because obviously this is right after he got the injury to his eye, is they've scaled the makeup down just a little bit, and it's just, you can barely tell there's something going on with that other eye. It's just a little touched up more than the other one. It's like, I love that little attention to detail. You could have just gone with nothing, but it's like, well, let's add a splash of something in here. Like, I love that.
It's
like that a lot.
Great detail. And then we get the scene with Brendan and Patty outside Brendan's house. And this is, I agree with you. Patty's pushing, right? Patty is pushing to reestablish a relationship with Brendan and more so his grandchildren, I think. I think there is, man, there are two moments in this movie when I start getting the man mist, right? Like I start to tear up a little bit, and it's right here. There's one here. Because it's the way Nolte sells it, dude. He's like, I got 2 grandkids in there. I've never seen them before. And I'm just like, holy shit, man. Like, I can feel it. I can feel your...
Yeah.
Because there's also an element of like, is he using, like, I don't think he's that sinister, but like, is he using the children as a way to get closer towards his own child? But I don't think so. Like, I think there's a little, like, he's genuinely upset.
Right. Yeah, I think so too. But I also think that there's something in there of, he comes off as, and this is going to sound bad, but he comes off as really kind of pathetic and very desperate. And it's like, man, it's hard to really, like, it's almost really cringy to watch at some points, like just how hard he's really like, hey, have you ever seen my hands so steady? And it's like, dude, you're trying to like impress and trying to be like, hey, I'm sober now. I can just, everything's cool now. Right. And it's like, dude, that's not how it fucking works, man. Like, it doesn't matter if you're sober now, the ripples are still in the wave, right. Exactly. So I like this scene a lot, especially for Nolte, and I think that he's probably channeling a lot of shit that he went through. I know that he had a lot of like drug and alcohol problems and stuff, but the thing that kind of he knows, and I think he saves this for the end, is when he starts walking off, he's like, Tommy's back, and he just blurts it out real quick. And it's like, oh, you were like, let me throw this like Pokeball out and catch you before you get out of here,
and
know.
It works.
Like,
it works because Brendan's like halfway through the door until he's like, yeah, Tommy's back in Pittsburgh, and that works, right? I mean, like, it's a heartbreaking scene because Brendan is just straight up, again, not giving, very much like Tommy, not giving Patty an inch, right? He's like, never again. Right. You were never there. Like, there's all this, there's all that. And it watching it again, it kind of makes you realize that the line that Tommy says later to Patty at the slot machines is when he's like, Brandon and I have one thing in common, and that's we don't like you. We dislike you. We have no use for you. And it's just, man, like, fuck. The brothers really sell it well, I think. It's great. It's an awesome sequence. The way the scene ends with the kids at the door, and he's just like, man, I can't.
Yeah. That's hard.
Am I a man? Sometimes I question myself, dude. Fucking Jesus. Where are we? I think we got there's a bit of a training montage coming up, isn't there?
Don't ask me. This is your movie, dude. No, I'm just kidding.
No, sorry. Tommy.
I'm over here.
Tommy calls
Dylan.
Peeler. Tommy calls Peeler the woman.
I was still just laughing at Nick Nolte sitting there in the road with his hat in his hands, like a paper boy from the 50s, and he's like, I just want to come in for a hot cup of cocoa. He's like, get out of here, you all drunk. Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, I'm in your house.
Dude, Joel Edgerton just turns around, dude, I have no idea what you're saying. I have no, literally.
Or he responds to it perfectly. He's like, that's not the point, Dad. It's like cousin, like from Addams Family.
It's like completely unintelligible, and it's just like, yeah, Dad. It's honestly like Han understanding Chewie from Star Wars.
Yes.
Yes, Chewie. But yeah, so Tommy's talking to Peeler, and this is an interesting moment because this is the first time we see Tommy emotionally invested in anything.
Yes,
and,
I love this part.
Yeah, and
I think
that's the big thing. Like, this tells us a lot about Tommy. Like, something's definitely gone wrong here. And we, again, I love the way this movie kind of like does a little bit of a misdirect, because is this a romantic connection for Tommy? But it like doesn't turn out that way, right? I mean, like, this is someone that he's promised to take care of after the friendly fire death that we come to find out later. But again, I love that misdirect of like you're made to think for a minute or two whether this is someone that Tommy's emotionally invested in. I mean, like, romantic.
Right. I was like, are these his kids?
Right.
I was like, are these his
right.
at first? My thing, she's the one I feel worse for in all the movie because she loses. Like, but Tommy loses, she loses, and it's like, I wouldn't have minded if there was just a post-credit scene of just Joel Edgerton knocking on her door and be like, oh, hey, here's a check for like $2 million.
We can,
be like, cool.
We can talk about that because I can see it happening. Like, I mean, like, not maybe $2 million, but like, after because he's only doing this for his house. He's not doing this to get rich, right?
Right. He's doing you're not doing this to like, now I can retire. It's like, you're doing this to break even, dude. Like, you're just doing this to get caught up. But this is where we get the training montage right after that. But I like Pilar. I like her a lot. It's definitely very like, it's nice to see Tommy actually have like a human moment with somebody. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing of it breaks that. It's like just the snowman that finally melts for once. It's like, cool. Like, you kind of see what's really at the core of it.
Yep, absolutely, dude. 100%. I dig this montage. Actually, I love the way it's cut. I love the two tiles, like, the split screen kind of technique. It looks really awesome, dude. And again, the music that's over it. I love the score in this movie, by the way. Like the drums and like the really kind of like, because it is a sports movie and it needs a montage, right? It needs something to rile the audience up.
Everybody's got to have one.
Everyone's got to have one. It's just, how good is it going to be? Right? That's the question. And I think this really is pretty effective. You see how each of the teams train, right? I mean, like them kind of like running up that hill. Frank Grillo's like training them, while Tommy, on the other hand, is being trained like Rocky, right? I mean, like, Patty feels a lot like Mickey. Like, there's a lot of Mickey for sure.
This feels a lot like Rocky IV. This feels a lot like War by Vincent DiCola. I fucking love that track. But this definitely feels like old school versus new school. It feels like Patty and Tommy are just like locked in a shed in Siberia somewhere, but you see Brandon actually training with people, and it's like, dude, it's a little bit more state of the art. It's a little bit more hands on, and he's learning the grapple game. And that's the thing. You don't really see Tommy do that a lot. You don't really see him training, like grappling with people and stuff. It's always like hitting tires with sledgehammers and boxing and throwing punches. And it's like Joel Edgerton is always in, training with somebody or sparring. And I think that's really cool. I think that's interesting. He is definitely like the smarter, work harder version. I
wonder, okay, like, look, it's a movie. So, someone wrote the fact that he does win at the end. But like, I wonder if that's if this was real, that's how he would win in real life. Like, because he's had this experience of grappling and wrestling with people throughout his training, whereas Hardy's character, Tommy, only has that brute force training, him hitting the tires, and he doesn't have that experience of like, I don't want to say he doesn't have that experience because he's clearly an experienced fighter. He used to do it when he was a kid, but less so than Brendan. He can't he can't anticipate how someone's going to move out of a grapple as well as Brendan does.
Right. Well, and Tommy, it's like, dude, eventually, that would happen to Mike Tyson sometimes. It's like he was so used to knocking people out so fast. It's like, well, when you get somebody who doesn't go down so easily, 6 rounds in, you're fucking gassed, man. Like, you're exhausted. and I think that's one thing that Brandon had. His maybe your strength and your speed is not amazing, but dude, this guy's tolerance and endurance is just like he's like a piece of iron. Like Rocky IV, he's like a piece of iron. You just keep fucking going. What I think is really cool. But he has to take a lot of damage to get in there, though. He's really got to take a lot of shit before he can manipulate things to his advantage.
Absolutely. We get this brief scene between Brendan and his wife. So this is post montage. Throughout the montage, we've also seen, again, like, the montage is interspersed with like news clips of other fighters like Koba, like coming into it, right? Like we know he's going to be a main factor, coming into Sparta. I did kind of like gloss over the scene where Brendan asks Frank to be in Sparta, but whatever. Like we all know it's going to happen, right? I mean, like,
right? I do like the montage ends with his boy getting injured. I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. That's a great visual way to tell that. I really like that. It's not just a montage for nothing. The montage ends moving the plot forward, and I was like, cool. I dig that, dude. I really like that.
Totally. But like she is very hesitant about him going to Sparta because she's seen Koba.
Rightfully so.
She's seen Koba. Like she knows what he's up against. Like these aren't smokers, right? Like this guy is a fucking.
This is Adrian at the top of the steps going, you can't win. Right. It's like,
is that
rightfully
is that
so though?
4?
I mean,
that's 4, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I get mixed up with them.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, man. That's it. Like, all right, look, we'll call it a break right there because that's about halfway. The way this movie's structured, and again, I completely forgot that it was structured this way, was that a lot of like the family stuff is in the first half, and then the whole second half is Sparta. And I was like, whoa, what? Really? I didn't remember that at all.
And that's why this movie is 2.5 hours long. No, I'm just kidding. It's like 2:20, like 2:19 or something.
Do you feel the length?
Yes.
Do you? Okay, because I
do.
Not. I was like,
I'm sure you've never heard anybody tell you that they feel the length, but
my girlfriend does it. Oh, hey, man, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Hey, what are you doing?
No, but yeah, cool. All right, look, we'll call it a break right there. Guys, we'll be right back with more Warrior. Stay right there.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Jumping in the middle of this episode here to take a minute to talk to you guys about our Patreon called The Green Room. It's $5 a month. You can find that at patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature. You can also find a lot of our stuff at midnightdoublefeature.com if you're needing. That's kind of the main hub. Our Patreon's $5. We've got, like 24 episodes already. It's the same for everybody. So, if you're jumping in late, that's cool because you get all these bonus episodes like right off the bat. We've got some commentary episodes. We've got shooting the shit episodes. We've got some features in there. We have some really, really interesting stuff and kind of a diverse array of stuff. We have like movies we walked out of, movies we probably won't ever watch again. We've had a lot of stuff in there. So we hope you guys can sign up for that. Again, it's $5 a month, patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode and for joining us for this episode of The Warrior. We'd really appreciate if you guys could support the show by joining our Patreon. But I am here to talk about our socials. If you aren't following us already, head to any of the main social media websites like Instagram, like Facebook, like Twitter. We're on all three. We've got a solid presence on all three. Facebook is our sort of main hub where our community comes together and talks all things movies. That page is called The After Party. It's a Facebook group. It's called The After Party. That's 3 words. If you do want to just get our news on what's next to come on Midnight Double Feature, you don't want to get part of the conversation, that's fine. It's completely understandable. Head to midnightdoublefeature.com or at Midnight Double Feature on Instagram, at MDFpod on Twitter. And rate and review us on iTunes. That's pretty much it. Colin, you got anything else to say before we head out of here? Back into our episode of Warrior?
No, just thank you guys for making it this far into the episode. We hope you enjoy the second half.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second half of Warrior. All right, we're going to dive right back into this. We are freshly squeezed, as always. We are into Sparta, right? I mean, this is Sparta! I mean, it has to be said, right? Come on.
I don't love Brian Callen in this movie. He's not a great actor. He's like, you left Wall Street behind. I'm dumping a lot of exposition. I'm saying it like this. Oh my God, it's an extravaganza. Dogs and cats living with each other. Mass hysteria. It's like, I don't know. I don't love him.
He is a good actor, though. Like, I mean, like in Hangover 1 and Hangover 2, he's playing two different characters. Whenever he pops up in like one of those smaller roles where he doesn't, where he's being like a big actor, like dude, like when him in that chapel. Like, my brother and I quote him, and this is before we knew that it was Brian Callen. Like, we were just like, he's that fucking guy who's just wanting the fucking baklava from the fucking go. He's like, where's the baklava, please?
Yeah.
Like that shit. Like, dude, I love his little fucking, how loud he is and like his little tics. But yeah, I agree. Like, he's laying down. But like, that's, I mean, less so here, but more when he's like commentating ringside or cage side or whatever you want to call it. That's kind of like what they do in these movies, right? I mean, like in the Rocky movies, the announcers are always like laying down exposition. Oh, that was a big hit. We don't know if he's going to come back.
If Rocky doesn't keep his gloves up, he's going to lose this fight. It's like they're kind of letting you know.
Totally. But this is a scene right here where Brendan lays eyes on Tommy for the first time. Well, the first time in years, probably. Yeah. Right? And like he figures out that Patty and Tommy are in cahoots. They're here in Sparta. They're training. They're probably going to go toe to toe. And like, I love that he gets distracted. Right. I love that he walks away from it all. And Frank is the one who brings him back and he's like, hey man, they all want to talk to you here. They don't want to talk to me. Don't get distracted. Don't leave me. Like, let's do this. Keep your head in the game.
Right. Yeah. You can tell already this is going to be a major obstacle, even for both of them. I mean, Tommy just walks out. It definitely throws a wrench in everybody's plans.
Yeah, totally. We find out about, actually the public finds out about Tommy Reardon, right? And who he was as a Marine, and what he did. Right, I mean, like the Marines, the Marines have put out a public message. I don't know how accurate that would be. I don't know if that would ever happen.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Like, yeah, I mean, like for all we know, this could have been usually a lot of military operations like this are confidential, right, and like very hush hush and
right.
So I don't know about the whole interview TV kind of thing, but I get it. It works in the story kind of like perspective. Of like finding out, Patty finding out what his son did, right? I mean, like, and Patty being very proud of his son. But I love Tommy kind of coming out and being like, like that was hell, like I didn't.
Yeah,
that was fucking crazy.
I kind of leave it in terms of like if he had posted something on Facebook and be like, I'm trying to reach a guy that saved my life, blah blah blah, like one of those like lost connection kind of things, I could see that. But to like something on like the news where it's like everybody's looking for Tommy Reardon, it's like, really? Why? I don't know. This seems like more like a Facebook post that would go viral or something,
Yeah, it's a little strange. I didn't love, and I wonder what our friend Josh would think of this. Like,
I thought that too.
Kind of like, I think about it a lot actually. Whenever I watch movies now and like there's Marines and stuff, and like I wonder what Josh would think of this. And then we get the first meeting of Tommy and Brendan in years, and this is out in the sand. I love the location of this. Right, I mean, like. There's something really visually, because every time I think of this movie, I think of a couple of things. I think of One Punch Knockout, right? I think of that. I think of One Punch Knockout. I think of Tom Hardy leaving the cage, which is just shocking and baffling to me. I think of Nick Nolte, and I think of this scene because it's so visually striking. I love them out in the sand. I love the background. I love the Atlantic City just like, like illuminated behind them. This feels like a to bring it, I guess, into a mythological or operatic sense. This feels like a Batman versus Superman kind of like situation where they've met up for the first time after years and like they're trying to work out their differences before they throw down, right?
Right. Well, also, I just wanted Joel Edgerton to be like, "It's over, Tommy. I have the high ground." It's like,
I hate you.
Right. There's something about like, seeing this huge, vast, like giant open body of water that's like, you can fill the space between these guys. And I think that this does feel like something kind of straight out of an 80s movie where it's like Stallone on the beach in Rocky 3. And it's like, I'm afraid to lose what I got. There's definitely parts of that feel kind of, but it's just that Tommy storms off. And I love the way that transitions into this where he, Nick Nolte enters the phone. He goes, Brendan. And then it just cuts to this sweeping shot of the beach. And I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. But this is inevitable, and it's kind of, it's interesting seeing
necessary.
Right. Well, it's also like Nick Nolte wants to be in both of their lives. They don't want anything to do with them. Joel wants to be in Tom Hardy's life, but doesn't want anything to do with him. It's like, man, that's interesting. Like nobody really matches up in the same way.
No, totally. And like, man, some of the dialogue here is great, man. Like I love the whole idea of like, like Brendan's actually trying to show Tommy, hey man, like these are my kids, and he's like, I don't know them. I don't know you. Who are you? Like,
right.
It's this like erase, like it's like he's deleted them from his mind. Like, I've just erased you. You're gone. See ya. And like, Brendan's like, hey man, you're my brother. And he's like, I didn't know you were in the Corps. Like my brothers are all in the Corps, right? Like there's something about that. Like, there's something about the replacing of your brother and replacing of your family by the military, by the people who fought alongside you. Like, I really dig that. Like instead of like finding his family in his flesh and blood, he found it in combat, which is, he's someone who was like carved out of combat. Like, all he's known is combat. And now here he is like fighting for money in combat. It's awesome. Right.
I mean, and I think that's a major, you hit upon a major flaw of Tommy where it's like, it's like, oh, you stayed behind just for some girl. And he's like, I married her. Like I have a family with this person now. This was not some flash in the pan relationship. Like this was something that ultimately, was a permanent fixture in my life. So for him just to be so flippant about it, like, yeah, you should have left all that behind and come with us. It's like, who the fuck are you? Like, I get it, dude. You're scared and you were just a kid and you don't want to be, cause if I think, Brendan's like, I was 16 and he's older than him. So he was probably 13, 14 when they ran. So I think this has affected Tommy a lot more cause he was a younger when this happened too.
Well, not only that, like he had to bury his mom, right? Which is what he brings up here, right? I mean, like, there is an element of this scene where Brendan comes off as a little high and mighty. Like, he comes off as a little, like, I forgave you. I forgave Dad, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, like, and then, like, Tommy just turns around and is like, hey, like, who are you to forgive people, right? I mean, like, we're the ones who are supposed to forgive you because I have dealt with so much more death than you have. Like, you stayed back and got the girl and, you got the house, you got the picket fence life, like, the apple pie life. I really like the way this movie asks the audience to consider both sides, and it's not up until the end or even when the credits roll that you either A, decide on which side you fall, or B, just end up being 50-50 on either of their sides. Like, it's really well done, I think.
Yeah, I think that there's something, Tommy is a bit, even before, joining the Marines and stuff. And obviously he suffered from some, definitely, I mean, some kind of PTSD. He's got, he's got some shit he's got to get worked out. I think that there's something too where he's just kind of has this feeling of like, you betrayed us. And it's like, dude, I didn't like, dude, I'm not, again, this was something that ended up becoming a major fixture of my life. And it's not just, oh, I stayed behind to chase some pussy or something. It's like, no, like I started a family. I wasn't just going to pack up and leave. And, when I have something here, there was nothing, if I had nothing here, maybe, but like I'm trying to start a family with this person, even at that young age.
Right. Right. The clashing of both of their lifestyles and both of their like decisions at any age is really, really interesting and telling. I want to get to there's this scene where these kids are like trying to set up a kind of like exhibition or viewing in like the gymnasium at school for Brendan. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Dunn, the principal, is just straight up like, dude, No, like we're not gonna allow that to happen. You know, it's a suspended teacher to show what he was like suspended for to a bunch of students. No way, no fucking way.
In all honesty, this movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes long. I think you can cut all of this out. Like you don't. It's nice. It adds a little stuff to it, but I think alone just seeing the principal at home watching it would be enough. Like, oh, that's fucking cool. Yeah, I don't need like this whole seeing the kids walk out students. All bummed, and it's like I don't really. You know, you could save 10 minutes off this movie by cutting that shit.
I don't mind the students because, like, if we talk about the difference between these two, if we talk about the difference between Brendan and Tommy's got no one. Tommy's got no one rooting him on.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy's Peeler, right? Peeler is the only one who's on his side. Whereas Brendan's life decisions have resulted in his wife, the principal, the students all cheering him on. And like, you know, whether it depends what you want to take away from this movie, right? Like, do you want to take away from this movie the fact that, you know, all the friendships and family and connections that you've created in life? Do you want to take that as being your support system, being resulting in you being the winner at the end, right? I mean, like, because he wins with them in this corner. I mean, maybe it's a factor.
Right. Like, and I think that you can get that across with like the wife. Eventually she kind of comes around and then the principal's in there. It's like, I don't know. I just, you know, I think this movie can definitely trim some shit off, and I would start with that. I definitely would.
Okay. Yeah.
And Brian Callen shit. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, like, this is where he starts coming in a lot more, right? I mean, like, because he's there's another host, and he goes by his own name as well, Sam Sheridan. I don't know who he.
Nah, I don't know either.
I don't know what capacity he. Hold on. He's a writer and producer known for Warrior. Oh, did you write this? Okay. Wait, and Wonder Woman 1984. What?
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, all right. There you go. The more you know. But dude, this first fight. So this is Tom Hardy. This is his opening salvo, and like, if there's one fight that Tommy knows that he needs to make an impression on, it's this one, right? I mean, like, because at this point, again, he's an unknown. Who the fuck is this guy outside of a YouTube video created at a gym of him dropping Mad Dog? Like, he's got no business, like, because like if you listen to the commentators, they don't know who this guy is. Like, they don't know what credential he has. Like, why is he here? Why does he deserve to be at Sparta? Right. You know, he's done no interviews, he's done no conferences, he's got no walkout music. He's a mystery, right? He's a mystery man.
I loved playing Fight Night and picking all that stuff. You pick your trunks and your walkout music and stuff. Yeah, I love Fight Night games. Those are awesome.
I remember, I don't know if you could do it, but me and my brother used to play WrestleMania a lot. Like the Xbox game, WrestleMania.
We played WCW versus NWO on N64. That was a big one.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's WrestleMania is how I know Kurt Angle, like, and how much Kurt Angle touts his gold medal, because that's what he has. He has an Olympic. Every time, dude, in the campaign of that game, Kurt Angle, whenever he talks about himself, it's never just Kurt Angle. It's Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. But fuck, man, one punch.
Yeah, that's brutal.
And he leaves the cage. Like, this was, oh man, like this guy's dead. This guy is deceased.
Well, and and also Joel Egerton watching it from, like his
skipping
camp,
rope.
Right, his camp, kind of watching it and seeing that is like, good God Almighty. And the fact that nobody expects it's just run in there, punch him. He just kind of walks around the ring a couple of times and he just walks right out.
Dude, that shot of Hardy removing his mouth guard, walking around and just like staring at his fucking mutilated corpse of the person he dropped, that look is horrifying.
Right. It's almost like a vulture just like walking around just like ugh.
Yeah. And not to mention his traps. Right? I mean, like, can we talk about his traps for a sec?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Like, dude, when this movie came out, I was about to finish high school. Everyone was talking about Tom Hardy's traps in this movie. And I remember there was one promotional shot of Bane. I think it had been released at this point, and it was just like him kind of like in the darkness, and, you could just see like the edge of the mask, and you can see this like the trap.
Oh yeah, and he's like
And you were
looking
like,
over his shoulder.
oh,
Yes.
fuck.
Oh, that looked awesome, dude.
Yes. And you're like, holy shit, is this band's gonna be incredible. But like him leaving the cage, man, like what a, again, probably would never happen in real life, but like him leaving the cage, paying the ultimate disrespect. Well, it works on a number of levels, right? Because him disrespecting his opponent, but also him just being like, I'm here for one thing and one thing only. I'm not here for the fame. I'm not here for the glory.
Right.
I'm here just to get to the final and win this money. That's
right.
it.
It's very
That's it.
minimalist.
I just want to be out.
It's like, I just want to show up, throw a punch, and go home and just be done.
Right. Not to mention the gorilla walk that he does. This thing. This.
Oh yeah, he can't like put his
the way
arms
he
down.
walks, dude. Oh, wild, man! I love it. Sorry, I'm just trying to find what to talk about in the next scene.
Oh, I think it's Joel Edgerton getting like
Fast
kind of geared up. You know, he's like, you can do this.
Yeah. Fuck.
Fucking don't.
This is what happens when I don't take notes. Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
All right, but yeah, look. So Brendan's getting G'd up for his next fight. I love him coming out to Ode to Joy. Like, I mean, isn't that just such a, like, if you put him next to Tommy and like Tommy's entrance, right? Like, which is nothing, and then Brendan coming out to Ode to Joy by Beethoven.
Right. And I was like, is there any kind of like deeper meaning to that? And I'm like, and I kind of think there is, where it's like, you know, he's not just this like walking out to Back in Black by AC/DC or something. He's like, no, we do things a little bit differently. We take our time. We're patient. We're wise. Like, we're not brawlers. Like, we are brawlers in a sense, but we fight with our heads, you know? I think that's totally what I get from that corner a lot.
But I love it as well because, you know, Brian Callen and all the commentators and stuff, they're like questioning the reasoning behind Ode to Joy. Right, like I love how much of a dumb cunt Brian Callen is. He's just like, he's coming out to classical music. What the fuck? Like he calls it classical music. He doesn't even know what the name of the piece is. Like, it's just like, fuck off, you dumbass.
I could literally sing this like ba da 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 da, but I could not have told you.
Die Hard. All you need to do is watch Die Hard.
That's right.
Like,
I couldn't have told you the name until they started saying it in this. But why does he have a goldfish? And he's like, yeah, that's Brandon. I was like, why do you have a fucking goldfish here, you weirdo?
Well, because the scene ends with the other commentator being like, you better have a receipt for that goldfish. I'm just like, wait.
That fucking thing is dead.
Go out?
You fucking idiot.
Did he go out and buy a goldfish for this scene? I don't understand. But can we also acknowledge the name of this fighter that he's fighting? Midnight.
Oh God. Yeah, I was like, that's
Holy
terrible.
shit.
Like, that's what they call that's what they call oh God, what's his name? The kid in Stranger Things, the only black kid. I know the actor Caleb McLaughlin.
Fuck, I forgot his name.
I can't remember. But anyway, that's literally a name they call him in a derogative sense in the first season. And this guy's like, yeah, my name's Midnight. I was like, hey, I mean, whatever makes you happy, but is this guy a real UFC fighter, or is this guy an actor?
I don't know. But he looks like he looks the part, right? Like I guess this might be a good time to talk about the actual combat. It looks real.
Yeah, it looks good.
Looks legit. They and I don't know at what point, and like that's a testament to the stuntman and Gavin O'Connor. But I don't know when the stuntmen start and when Joel Edgerton starts.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It seems pretty seamless. Yeah. I like that, and the camera angles they do cut back sometimes, but then they can be really tight, and there's just kind of like that like shaky kind of effect that works well that I really enjoy. I think this is edited. I think this is supreme editing because like they cut back to Nick Nolte a lot. They cut back to the principal. They cut over to Frank. They cut over to his wife. There's a lot of the pacing of this is very well done.
It's really great. Absolutely. Look, there's a bit of a montage here. We see the boys. Like Brandon wins his fight against Midnight, but like the boys like kind of like cut back and forth, winning their own fights. But also Cobra's in there as well. Like he's moving his way up as well. So we know that there's going to be an altercation between either Brendan and Cobra or Tommy and Cobra. But the next big scene that I want to talk about is the slot machines. So it's Tommy and Patty at the slot machines. Patty's, this is after Sorry. So Paddy's talking about how he goes by Reardon, right? Like his mother's maiden name. That's why they can't find his Marine service records.
Right.
This gets to Tommy. Like, this really gets to him, right? Like, he's like, what the hell? Paddy's like, what the hell happened over there? He's really driving at it, right? He's really pushing it. And this sends Tommy a little over the edge because this is, man, like, Nolte is working here. Both of them are working here. Both of them are amazing here.
Right. Both of them are definitely, you're definitely getting your money's worth out of them here. But I think there's also something lacking where it's like, I think Nolte is also like, dude, I was a vet. Like, I was in the Marines in Vietnam.
I understand.
So, yeah. So I think that there's a level that, like, you can't pull that bullshit on me and go, oh, you just wouldn't understand. Like, there's a great deleted scene I watched of Nick Nolte being like, yeah, I was in Vietnam and we, pay the kids to clean our guns and something about like laying on the beach and shooting flares in the air.
And then Dr. Manhattan showed up.
Right. Yeah. Just exploding people. And he's like, we hung out with like the prettiest women in all of Vietnam. And he's like, it was really good. And he's like, what happened? He's like, it stopped. And he's like, basically like, it ended. That's all he says. It's like, damn. So there definitely is a connection there that it's like, I think that Tommy is afraid in a way to relate because it's like, don't sit there and tell me I won't understand. I'll understand. It's like, but it happens to be the one person in your closest proximity who would really understand is a person you hate more than most people in the world,
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome, man. And like the way the scene ends with, Tommy just throwing the coins at him. Like, like you said, I think the word you said is right. Pathetic. He looks pathetic. Yeah. Like he's desperately. Also, yeah. Sorry, go on.
What Tommy reduces him down to, because when he first says, I liked you better when you were drunk, it seems like just like a drunk ramblings of somebody who's about to pass out. But here he brings it back up, clear, conscious, and like right to his face. And it's like, no, that wasn't just like some kind of drunk rambling. This is really what I thought, like this is not just, I took it as just like saying the worst thing you can. He's drunk. He's passing out. Okay. He probably doesn't really mean it, but no, he fucking meant it.
Yeah, he meant it, and he remembered it. He remembered when he first said it, and like, he just like keeps it's like he keeps pushing the dagger into him like more and more until he breaks, which he does the next scene, right? I mean, like he relapses, and Tommy wakes up to him yelling over the audiobook of Moby Dick, right? You stop the ship, you godless son of a bitch.
Yeah, man, I was kind of confused.
Is he like great?
I like watching him walk around and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, what is the significance of like the Ahab thing? Like, cause he's listening to Moby Dick. And I was like, so what is the significance of this? Cause at first I thought it was like the Bible on tape, which is like, but I was like, oh, he's actually listening to like Moby Dick. And apparently the director, Gavin O'Connor, was like, yeah, at this point he considers, what does he say? Oh, here, I've got it. So when I had to pick a story, I chose Moby Dick because for Tommy, the old man is the white whale. In the book, there's only one white whale in the ocean. In Tommy's eyes, there's no one else like his dad. In the book, the whale bit off Ahab's leg, and now Ahab is hunting the whale in his megalomaniacal way in order to kill him in revenge. That's what Tommy is doing. He's come home to destroy his father because he sees his father as having eaten him when he was a boy. When Patty gets drunk in the hotel room, he calls Tommy on it. He calls him Ahab. He also begs him to stop the ship and calls him a son of a bitch, blah, blah, blah. Patty gets drunk. And this is where Tommy this is where Tommy sees himself in the old man. It's like alcoholic. You're a vet. You're a fighter. Like, dude, you have a lot more in common than you think.
That's interesting. Because like, if you hadn't said that, I would have said that Patty is Ahab and the white whale is Tommy.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but that's interesting that it goes the other way, that Gavin O'Connor thought about it the other way. But this scene ends really, really amazingly. I mean, like, this is, you see Tommy giving an inch, right? You see him, like, this harkens back to his childhood, right? And like, he knows what to do with his father when he sees him in this state, right? He knows how to comfort him and he knows what to say. And it's actually kind of heartbreaking a little. But like, it also informs the moment where Tommy taps out at the end, right? Like to Brendan, because I think this is the moment that really colors the ending for Tommy, I think.
Yeah, well, and I like the way that he's shot with like, he's almost always wearing black. He's got a stocking cap on, but in this, he's just got like this gray shirt and it's all white around him. It's very light colors. As I guess this kind of like there's all this. It's a very bright room, and I like that a lot. There's a lot of white. There's a lot of beige and stuff like that. So I think that there's something in that about like, this is. Yeah, you don't want to say like, oh, this is your fault, but like, I think he probably feels guilt over like, this person who just wants nothing but your affection at this point. You tell them, I like you better if you're drunk. Fuck it. I'll go get drunk then. Like, if you just like me so much better when I'm drunk, then fuck you, ultimately that's not to say that like, oh, that's Tommy's fault, but I think that there's definitely a guilt there where it's like, man, you just watch this guy of like 1,000 days sober just collapse. And really, he was fine until you knocked on his door. That's what's fucked up. And then to say like, I have no use for you. It's like, then why did you knock on my fucking door?
Why did you ask for my help? Why did you ask for my help to train you? Yeah.
There's definitely something in there with Tommy where it's like you are partly responsible in this mix, just as he is partly. It's a snake eating its own tail,
Mm-hmm. Totally. Let's get to Mad Dog versus Tommy round 2, right? I mean,
oh Jesus,
this is, dude. Like, I love the hubris on Mad Dog, right? I love him circling, like him entering the cage, circling around, and like going right up to Tommy's face, and then coming back. It's awesome. Like, I love it. And like Tommy, there's no need for showboating with Tommy, right? Like, there's no need to do any of that bullshit, like of like, like throwing people off or anything like that. It's just like, get me in the cage, ring the bell, and let's fucking go to war. And boy, do they fucking go to war.
Tommy does not overstay his welcome. He's like, do what I'm here to do. I think he looks at this literally as like taking out trash. Like, you go, you drop it, you open up the lid and you go back, just be done with it. It's not anything crazy for him. He's like, all right, well, let's get this over with.
No, totally, dude. Fucking Tommy tackles Mad Dog and just starts bombing on him, man.
Yeah, that's rough, dude.
Destroy. And like, look, like, it's different to boxing where the gloves are so much more padded than MMA gloves, right? Like, these are punches. These are like knuckles to face.
Right. Well, and he's taking a lot of shit out on this guy.
Right.
Like,
also,
I think
it's never this clean. Like MMA is never this clean. Like, it's never like that.
Yeah. Well, also, it's I think there's something where he's like, I'm taking out a lot of my personal shit with you, but also like, I've already fucked you off once. Don't make me fuck you off again. Like, get out of here, dude. I'm gonna make it stick this time.
Right, like I've taken this trash out before. Like, I know I can take it out pretty easily the next time. We get this scene with the principal Zito walking amongst it. Dude, I love how these kids have just hired a fucking drive-in, right? And they've just started projecting the fight onto the drive-in. And like, the principal Zito is there just like watching on. It's awesome. I love it. It's adorable. And then we get Brendan and Koba. And like, what I wanted to talk about briefly with Koba is that I don't know about the casting of Kurt Angle here in this movie.
It's distracting.
It's not that it's Kurt Angle. It's not that it's Kurt Angle. It's that Kurt Angle is too, in my opinion, too big to be a UFC fighter. Like he's...
Yeah. Well, especially in the same weight class. This is a middleweight thing, you know? Right. Like, come on.
He's in the same weight class, but also, man, to be a UFC fighter, if you look at a lot of UFC fighters, they're lean. Like, they're not big. They're just like, they're a lot more lean because they have to be agile. Like, more so, I think, than boxing or wrestling. They need to be a bit more agile because UFC uses all parts of your body, right?
Uses both of those, boxing and wrestling, and a lot of different stuff.
So I don't know. I don't know about the casting of Kurt Angle because he's so big, right? Like, he's so muscly and he's so, he is what he is.
It's distracting. It's like Hulk Hogan and Rocky 3, not to bring that up for like the fourth time, but like, it feels like, like this is not like Dave Bautista in Blade Runner or, isn't he in like one of the James Bond movies or something?
Yeah, Spectre.
Yeah, he's fucking great. That does not feel like a wrestler. He is I think Dave Bautista is legitimately one of the only ones who is like, you are an actor now. Like John Cena's doing that now with Suicide Squad. Like I'm not just like a Transformers, shoot 'em up car chase guy. Like I'm going to go do Suicide Squad. Like, yes. But dude, Dave Bautista has been like, do Blade Runner and then doing Drax and dude, he's all over the place. He does a lot of he's doing comedies and stuff like that. Like I really like Dave Bautista in that way, but Kurt Angle, it's like, to me, it's like, hey, is that fucking Kurt Angle? Like this guy looks like and he's Russian. It's got this weird Drago kind of feel to it. And you do need some kind of stakes for Brandon. We do need to know that his opponent is a little bit of a dangerous man, more so than the other ones. I think that it needs to be stated. It needs to be bold and italicized. Like this guy is dangerous, and I think they do a good job of setting that up, but he just looks like an ad for human growth hormone, like his nose and lips and ears are just huge.
Did you know Kurt Angle won his Olympic gold medal while fighting with a broken neck?
I heard that. Yeah, that's insane, man.
I looked that up and I'm just like, whoa.
he is intimidating looking for sure.
Oh, totally. But I mean, isn't he supposed to be like all American? So I'm wondering why the decision to make him Russian in this was.
Because this is an 80s movie in disguise. No, I'm just kidding.
Also, the name Cobra just reminded me of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I mean, like Cobra.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, big factor. But yeah, Brendan manages to tap Cobra, right? I mean, like that scene, dude, when he's kind of like got him in that bar.
Yeah, break his fucking leg.
Dude, that scene, that shot of like of Edgerton and his like upper body is just like all like tensed and he's like pulling and pulling and pulling until Cobra taps and it's just like, fuck, man. Like you feel it, dude. Like this movie does such a good job of putting you in that space. And then once he's tapped, it's just like, the relief of that, everyone's cheering, the music, the score is great.
Yeah.
It's good.
One of the most unbelievable things about this is that it's like multiple UFC fights over like how many hours. And it's like, dude, there is no fucking way anybody would let you
hours.
fight. Like,
I don't think it's hours because I was watching.
You think it's like days, maybe?
That. Yeah, it's definitely days. It's probably a week because there are kind of like there's that scene where Tommy is able to talk to Patty, right? And then Tommy not reconciles, but like, Patty gets drunk. And then there's like, I don't know. I feel like it's a week at the most. I feel like it's a week, maybe.
Okay. Still, though, it's like, dude, there's no way. I don't think the UFC would ever be like, yeah, we'll let you fight. Like, dude, I think you have to wait like 30-something days. You have to wait a while before you can fight again.
Yeah. And then the next day it comes out, right, through an interview with Peeler, that Tommy is who he is.
Yeah,
a deserter. After this fight, he's going to be apparently arrested by the MPs.
Which cracks me up. I'm like, why is he not already arrested? I'm sorry. That's a little, I would have preferred if that came out while he was fighting Brendan. It's like, oh, okay. Like, that's fucked up, man. Like, that definitely makes more sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it does. It does, because it's like, yeah, why is he roaming the streets? I mean,
right. Why is this guy a free citizen? I'm not saying that I throw the book at that deserter, but it's like, if you're going to arrest him, I mean, it's not like, hey, once you get done with that fight, we're going to have a long talk with you, mister. It's like,
yeah, because weird. It's like deserters are
some serious shit.
Yeah, it's some serious shit. Like, look up the case of Bo Bergdahl. Bo Bergdahl, so he was an army serviceman who left his post. Do you remember have you heard of the podcast called Serial?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Serial did that first season, which is the season that everyone talks about, with Adnan Syed, that guy who, apparently killed his girlfriend.
Right.
And then they did a second season, kind of like doing like an anthology thing about Bo Bergdahl. And unfortunately, I don't remember the full facts of this, but like he was accused of leaving his post and becoming a deserter. And I think his story is that he was kidnapped by Al-Qaeda. Something like that. So I can't remember the full facts, unfortunately.
Is he an Aussie or an American?
No, he's an American. Bo Bergdahl.
Okay.
B-O Bergdahl.
Okay.
But yeah.
Bo Bergdahl. I was like, that sounds like some fucking Mad Max kind of name or something like. We gotta go to the Bo Bergdahl.
No, it's definitely American. Definitely in the United States military. But yeah, let's get to the fight, dude. The fight, right? Ooh. The only fight that matters. And like, look, we know to a certain extent that this movie is going to end with these two fighting, right? I mean, like, we know that it's in that way, but does that make it predictable, right? Like, does that make this movie predictable? Because predictable it's a negative connotation, right? Yeah. I mean, like, because in Rocky, we know that Rocky's eventually going to fight Apollo Creed, right? We don't know that he's necessarily going to lose, because that to me is like what the fuck, he lost. But they're going to fight ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like,
I don't know. I don't hate it. You know, it's not at some point, you know, I can't say the first time I watched this is like, oh, it's going to come down to them two. You know, I honestly, this time watching it around, I was like, I know they fight, but isn't he about to get arrested? And that was really, excuse me, that was really distracting for me a little bit. But I think that the thing of them kind of coming together is, yeah, it's kind of like, you know, I think you could, especially from the cover, I think both of them are fucking fighting each other on the cover, or they're holding each other in the ring or something like that, octagon. So it's like, well, okay, yeah, like at some point this is going to go down. But dude, it's just, God, it's such a one-sided fight right off the bat. Like it's just Tom Hardy
just fucking destroying him.
Yeah, I've heard some people, and I just, you know, there's a YouTube channel called like Natty or Not, and it's like this guy who like breaks down like Henry Cavill and Tom Hardy and people that get jacked. And he's like, is that natural, or are you taking something? You know, and I'm like, I mean, hey, you're an actor. This is not a performance enhancing drug. You're just a fucking actor. If you want to take them, I mean, you do your thing. I don't really care. But I am kind of curious about, like, especially Henry Cavill. He got real big real quick. And it's like, but I mean, you know, some of these people, I don't want to belittle their work. Those people work out fucking 60 hours a week or something crazy. But Tom Hardy is just he's just so much bigger, you know, and he only got bigger after this to do Dark Knight. Like, fuck.
No, 100%, dude. And like he is just absolutely destroying Brendan here in these like opening kind of like these rounds. And, you know, it's not until that Brendan is able to dislocate his shoulder that he's actually able to somewhat gain an advantage of him. And here's the downfall. Well, not downfall, but I don't want to call it a weakness either, because when the round ends, after he's popped Tommy's shoulder, he calls for the ref, right? Like he's like, Josh, let's call the fight, whatever. And Frank's like, no, Josh, like, let's keep this going. Let's fucking finish him.
I think he's got a problem with Frank, and he's like, you know, you're asking me to really hurt somebody, but also it's like, you kind of owe this fucking guy. Like, Frank put a lot of shit into you, and like, it's kind of like, you know, ultimately you can't fault him for what he did. 'Cause it's like you're supporting your family, you're taking care of business, you're doing stuff you've got to do, and it sucks that you have to hurt this person. But like, I get kind of split, and I guess we can kind of like, I like the fight, it's cool. I do kind of wonder. It's like when Brandon wins, it's like, you know, I think there's kind of a debate, people who are like, should Tommy have won, you know, like, or should Brandon have won? And I kind of go back and forth. It's like, yeah, you really like Brandon, but at the same time, it's like, you do kind of feel, I got the impression it's like that you're, you know, you have 3 kids and you have 3 jobs between you guys. You're maybe spending a little bit more than you can save. Like, is it something beyond your means versus Tommy's like trying to take care of this widow who got killed by his own army? Like, he's like, I don't know. I kind of side with that one a little bit, but I think that Tommy's whole thing of like, I'm going to get $5 million, I'm going to give it to her, is him trying to like, he has had no control over anything. His dad being in the military, you know, saving those guys has come back to bite him in the ass. Like, it's like he hasn't had his mom dying. He hasn't had any control over anything. So I think this is him like, if I do this, everything will be okay, and I'll make everything right that was wrong. And it's like, it doesn't work that way, dude. Like, and I, it's obviously a valiant like effort, you know, and the shot of him in the cage and his eyes are all puffy and he's like looking at the Marines and stuff. It's really hard to like not want to see him win, but also it's, you know, you think of Joel Edgerton and those little kids and shit. It's like, I'm so torn, man. You know, I think that Tommy might be saying that he's doing this so he can give the money to the widow, but I don't think that's all it is. And I think that he's got something to prove. Maybe he wants to prove like, hey, I'm not the little brother anymore. I'm not who you think I am. But Joel Edgerton's like, I'm doing this for strictly, I have to. It's not that I have something to prove. I have to do this. I wouldn't be in here if I didn't have something worth fighting for, And I think that Tommy does have that, but I think that Brandon's hits a little bit more closer to home,
I think so. And I think, couple that with the fact that they have this animosity as kids, right? I mean, like, like there's the one decision that kind of like set both of these guys apart, right? I mean, like, the decision for Tommy to leave and Brendan to stay. Right. I mean, like that's, they're still working this out. They're fighting over this. They're literally, this is a family at a family meeting, kind of like, working this out. Right.
Right. Well, and also I think there's something about Patty, having Tommy as the favorite that Brandon's like, what are you trying to prove? That you deserved it? That you are the best? Like, what is this, man? I think that might be a little part of it too.
Well, that's it, because, like, here's Brendan in this final sequence, and he's yelling at Tommy, right? Tommy, who's got a dropped shoulder, like, he's got the pop shoulder, and Brendan is pleading with Tommy not to do this, right? Like, he's like, are you fucking crazy? Are you out of your mind? Like, this needs to happen, I need to keep a roof over my children's heads.
Right. How does the ref not call this shit either? Dude is clearly not defending himself. Come on, dude.
Call this, right? This is movie stuff, but I'll let it go.
Right.
I'll let it go. I'll let it go for the feeling that Gavin O'Connor is trying to make me evoke, and it makes me, it works on me, dude. Because the music that plays here, right? I mean, like, as we start to wind this down with the guitar, and what song is this? I don't know what song this is.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know.
Okay. Because it works perfectly, right? Like, I mean, like, you get Brendan pleading with Tommy to stop, and then Brendan just fucking kicks him in the face, dude. Ugh. Tommy drops, and Brendan's able to put him in a lock, put him in a grapple, starts wailing on him, and Brendan, Tommy's able to make out the words, I love you. And now, as I'm fucking saying it, I'm fucking getting man misty, dude. I can't.
Well, I think there's also something it reminds me of almost Man of Steel, where he's like, he's got Zod by the neck and he's like, you're basically my brother. You're the only Kryptonian left. Like, but literally Zod is about to destroy his family that he's found. And that's kind of what if Tommy wins, your family's not destroyed, but it's not going to be good either. So I think he's kind of forced to do the same thing,
Totally, dude. And like the way that O'Connor is able to use the music, and I know it's so basic, right? Like, but it works on me every time. Every time I see Tommy tap and the music just swells. Yeah, man. It just works on me, man. It just fucking works. And it's perfect, because like the look in Hardy's eyes, and the way they carry each other out of the stadium, it's beautiful. And the way that Nolte is watching on, and he smiles and nods, and he's like, my two boys are back together again.
Right.
It's great.
Everybody's awesome. Like, this is amazing. It cuts to Pilar at home just watching the TV, just like, oh. I would love a post-credit scene of her just opening up going to the mailbox and opening up, an envelope, and she's just reading, and she just passes out in her driveway. And it's like a check for like $500,000. But cool, awesome, dude. I'd love a post. Fuck it. This movie's 2.5 hours long. Fuck it. Throw in a 30-second scene.
Give me the Zack Snyder cut.
Yes. There you go.
But yeah, man. Look. I actually really like the way this ends. Like, there's no bullshit like Coda or anything like that. It's these two brothers who have been on this massively emotional journey. They're just like, carry each other out while, Brendan's carrying Tommy out, and being the brother that Tommy wanted, right? Like, I mean, like if we cast ourselves back to that scene where they're talking on the sand, Tommy says, hey man, look, I was looking out for I was wondering who my older brother was, I was looking out for my older brother. I wanted him. And like, here he is, too little too late. And here he is now, carrying him out physically out of the stadium. And it's beautiful, dude. I love it. It's awesome. It's a great scene.
Let me ask you this. I know you've got a brother. Could you take him in a fight?
Could I take my brother in a fight? I'm a lot more agile than my brother.
Right.
I think I've definitely
so you work out pretty regularly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I've definitely got the stamina for it. I think weight class wise, I think he's got me because he's bigger than me. He's 3 years younger than me and he's bigger than me. Like he's
right. Oh, dude, my oldest brother's like 5'9". Yeah. There's a staggering difference.
my brother's about the same height as me. He's just fat, and we talk about all the time. I'm just like, dude, you got to get to the gym. Like you got to start taking care of yourself because this is
right.
But like I think pound for pound, I think he's got me like in terms of like pure brute force strength.
Yeah,
but I think
sure.
I think if it was just us in the ring, I think I would tire him out. No problem.
Yeah, like, one of mine I could definitely take. The other one is like works with a personal trainer 3 times a week and like fucking beat
superhuman.
Dude, he was an athlete like all through high school and shit. And I was like, well, I can stick somebody with a plasma from halfway over the map like Halo.
Fucking snipe him, headshot.
Yeah, dude, I only had this just kind of was something I like. Did you ever get into fights in school at all? Did you ever fight get into any like fist fight?
I use my words.
I got punched in the eye once so hard that I fucking saw stars. I was like, dude, I can't fucking see anything for a second. And I was like, whoa. And I remember him being like, are you okay? And like, I put my hand, I was like, dude, I can't, I'm fucking like, whew, it rocked my shit. And I guess my face sold it because he was like, okay, I'm not going to hit you anymore. But, there was one time, I don't know if you guys did this in Australia, but it was called like redneck, and someone would say redneck, and they come and smack you on the back of your neck. Oh my God. It was so annoying. And this kid always did it.
Is that bullshit?
Yes, that's how it's so fucking annoying. Never do that. This kid in music history class always did that. And finally one day I just had it, dude. And I'm not bragging. I feel kind of bad about this because he was a lot smaller than me, but I grabbed him by his shirt and just slung him across the hallway from one wall to the other. And I was like, stop. And that's why it's not cool great. Because it's like, dude, I was already like 6'2", 6'3", and 230 something. Like I was a grown man doing that to a middle schooler, basically. I was like, nah, that's not cool. That's don't do that.
That's awesome. But that's warrior, dude.
After that, though, I'll fucking tell you that.
You're gonna learn today. You
gotta learn.
That's warrior, dude. How about it, huh?
It was fun. I'm just gonna do closing thoughts, and then let's do because my closing thoughts are like boom. I'm not gonna take like.
Well, let's do comments first, and then go.
Oh fuck you! God damn it.
Hey, who's leading this bitch? Who's fucking leading this bitch, motherfucker? You're gonna leave me here by myself doing fucking audience? I don't want to read these assholes' fucking comments by myself. You gotta grit through this with me.
My closing thoughts. I liked it. There we go. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'll take the first one. Fuck you. I'm doing Jose. Yeah. Fuck you. Jose Rivera, group expert, After Party. Love Jose. Fantastic movie, but a couple of random things stick out to me. It's funny how Brian Callen plays a Joe Rogan type announcer when he played Joe Rogan's brother on an episode of News Radio. I remember that. Phil Hartman. Nice. I love News Radio. I've always found the whole Koba storyline with Kurt Angle a little weird. It's basically Rocky IV and feels like the climax of the movie. If you lost the Koba stuff and just moved on to Tom versus Brandon, will the movie suffer for it? That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't, I don't know. The movie's better for it, I think.
Do you need a Cobra figure in there? Like, can't Tommy just be the Cobra figure for Brendan? Like, like Brendan's wife is all up in arms about Cobra and like seeing this big Cobra guy and like, you're going to get your fucking neck broken. Like, can't Tommy's wife just be like, have you seen that Tom Hardy looking motherfucker who's probably going to destroy you? Like,
right. I don't know. I enjoy it because it's Brandon going up against like Tommy's not a professional fighter. He's not. He's an amazing fighter, but he's not a professional like MMA fighter. Koba is. And it's like, dude, when he walked into the ring, you get a feeling of like, shit, Brandon is really out of his element, dude. This is not good. And it does kind of give that Drago like dread fear of seeing him like this big ass Russian crystal-eyed blue motherfucker. You know, that is kind of goofy making him Russian and doing all this stuff. Like, but I get admit, I mean, if I had to fight my brother or fucking Khabib, like I'd totally rather fight my my brother because he's not a professional fighter.
You mean Khabib the fucking tiger fighting motherfucker?
Yeah,
Jesus
I think
Christ,
he's done
dude.
now. Didn't he retire? I think he retired on top. I think
I don't know if he
done.
retired.
I'm pretty sure he did because he even said at 24. I saw an interview with him back when he was like 24, and he was like, "If I don't, you know, I'm going to fight for a little while. If I don't lose, I'll just retire." And I was like, "Damn, dude, that's fucking cool." But what's
there
the
we
next
go.
one?
Khabib has 100% officially retired. Says UFC President Dana White. There you go.
Yeah, man,
Well, I mean,
he's
it's
fucking
32,
crying over that
like,
shit.
that's
Dana White's like, "Oh, my money."
Oh no, he's got, dude. As long as he's got Connor, he'll be fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I'm reading from another post. I'm reading from a teaser. Like I dropped a little teaser there before we posted that official one. So you can go ahead and like when I'm done with these, you can go ahead and read the other comment.
Yeah.
Out of the main one. So I got Lee Patrick Weber. He says this is possibly one of the best sports movies ever made. Incredibly moving story. Yeah, man. Look, man, I'm going to put it right up there. I think, you know, you mentioned The Fighter, and I'm going to put it way up there, like, with The Fighter. I think The Fighter is an incredible true story. I think everyone involved in that movie is fantastic. Christian Bale, Marky Mark. I always forget the woman's name. God damn it. Not Amy Adams. Not Amy Adams.
Oh,
the mother.
The mom.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But Melissa Leo. Sorry, shit. And David O. Russell's a fantastic director, but I think there's something missing. There's something fantastical about this Warrior. It's like very exaggerated. It's very operatic. Like, you know, it's very big. And the drama's a lot more heightened. And sometimes I like that. You know, like I don't love it in a lot of things. I like the melodrama in this. The melodrama kind of works for me. Because melodrama's not a good thing, right? But like I really enjoyed it in this. So yeah, Lee Patrick Weber, I agree with you. Patrick Harrington also commented on this, but I'll wait for you to read his official one.
Okay, word, yeah.
Daniel Cutter says, "Oh my god, I love this movie. I'm a wax so much poetic about Tom Hardy's shoulders." Jim Call. So Jim Call, I tagged him in this post because Jim Call, you know, we're all members of LSG Media's Facebook page, and Jim Call, I remember. Like every month he was posting something about Warrior, like asking them to cover it. And, you know, I'm just like, you know what, Jim Call, we're going to fucking cover it. So I want to get you in here. And he's like, yeah, it's okay. And he's like, pretty sure I'm not currently breaking my personal record of not posting about it every few months or so. And my other record of every person in real life that I've gotten to watch it and them knowing it is still intact. Got a guy in his late 40s knowing that knows nothing about MMA to watch it after a long time of trying. A few months ago with the catch that he should watch it with his wife and that she'll dig it as well. I legit put a guarantee on it. He came in the next day and said it was a hell of a movie and that his wife really liked it too. Boom! Fucking love Warrior, says Jim.
Nice.
So there you go.
Dude, that's awesome.
Go for gold.
Oh, it's just me? Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know if you had any more. Patrick Harrington, as I stated on the teaser post, I bought this movie on Jim Call's recommendation alone. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It's a bit predictable and pretty much an MMA version of Rocky. Yeah. But that doesn't mean it's a bad movie. Great performance all around and a lot of heart. And for me, way more entertaining than the first two Rocky movies. Hey. You watch your goddamn mouth.
Look,
no, I'm just kidding.
Patrick, I like you. I don't know if it's better than the first. I think the first is...
Two is personally my favorite. I love it.
Oh, that's interesting. I think, dude, I only have like a handful of like perfect movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rocky is up there with Jaws.
It's so, I mean, Rocky 1 and 2 are really neck and neck for me, but Rocky 2 could be its own standalone movie. Like literally, if you started with them in the ambulance and it's like, oh, dude, they just had a fight and this is what happened. Like, I feel the same way about a lot of people don't like Freddy Krueger 2, but it's like that could be a standalone movie. The myth of being in this house with this girl.
Straight to fucking
Freddy Krueger 2. What did I say? Whatever. I don't fucking care.
Have you guys seen Michael Myers H2O?
No, they've seen Michael Myers H2O. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, and Patrick also said, how fucking good is Nolte in this too? It's a great performance. I cannot agree more. Dude. I think he's perfect in this.
Powerhouse. Let's get to our closing thoughts because I need to take a piss.
I liked it.
Well,
no, I'm just kidding.
Succinct. Succinct.
No, it's a great movie. I think that there's better fighting movies that have a lot of heart. This is a perfect movie, no, but it definitely should be more talked about. It definitely should have made more money. That was a crime how little money this made. I don't even think it made his budget back. It was like 23. I think they made 23. It cost 25. And it's like, fuck, man. Like, how do you, with Tom Hardy and Joel, and Nick Nolte, I know this was not,
that speaks to what I was saying, like that I think it was too early, right? I mean, like if this came out like 7-8 years later, it would have fucking crushed.
Right. Yeah. Versus something like, something like The Fighter. I mean, I feel like everybody's seen that, but not a lot of people have seen Warrior. And I think that it does suffer from being too similar to The Fighter. I think that does hurt a little bit because The Fighter cost the same amount, made $129 million. But you've also got way bigger names. You've got Christian Bale method acting like a motherfucker in there. Like I feel like it's an upgraded version of this story, but they're both about brothers. They're both about, these contact sports, and they're both about a lot of heart. And I think if you like one, you really can't dislike the other. They're very similar stories. And I think that it's just kind of like you got your back against the world kind of thing. It's definitely my favorite Marky Mark movie, and I generally don't like him, but I think he does a decent job. I also love Fighter because it has Conan O'Brien's sister in there as one of Marky Mark's siblings. It's like, oh, that's cool. We should cover that soon, though. I've always fucking loved that movie, but I like this a lot, though, and I think that you can have a conversation with both of these, and yes, they are kind of similar, but not really. There's a big difference there, but there is a lot of similarities. There's substance abuse problems, there's anger management, there's like this big family. There's this kind of relationship with the mother that's not good. It's like I don't know. It's kind of interesting that there's a lot of comparisons to this, but I don't think that it's derivative of that at all, even though this came out after The Fighter. I think that this is definitely its own thing. I'm glad they never, The Fighter 3, Never Strike Again. It's like, I'm glad they just did one and done like Babadook, and they're just like, nope, we're done. We're not going to sit here and crank out 4 or 5 of these, So I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think if I was to look at The Fighter, I think The Fighter from memory is more of a introspective look at Mickey Ward and his life.
It's definitely more of a biopic, yeah.
Yeah, whereas this is a little bit more, like the scope is a little bit bigger than that. Like it's about these two kind of guys and their father. So, I think on on a macro level, this works as a macro movie, right? Like a bigger scale movie, whereas I think that works a little bit better on a biopic level. But I think this movie is awesome, dude. This put a lot of people on the map for me. This put Gavin O'Connor on the map for me. I went out and saw The Accountant, I think the day of release for me, because I was really excited to see his next movie. And, not the best movie, but I think his next movie after that with Ben Affleck was great. This put Tom Hardy on the map for me. I mean, I know I said I was intrigued by his performance in Inception, but this one was like, oh, fuck, okay, he's one to watch. And now I can't wait for him in The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises. And then this put Joel Edgerton on the map for me. On the Gift episode, I talked about his performance in Animal Kingdom, and I'm struggling to remember whether I saw him in Animal Kingdom first or whether I saw him in The Warrior first. Because seeing him in this, I was like, who is that guy? I want to know more about that fucking guy. And yeah, I think all 3 of these guys, Nick Nolte included, absolutely knocked out of the park. I think it's a movie. To me, it truly doesn't feel 2 hours 20. To me, it flies by. I really enjoy it, and then I'm just blown away by the drama of it all. The MMA sequences are well shot, well acted. It's incredibly intense, and I really, really enjoy it. So yeah, thanks for covering it, dude. What do you say about closing us off? Because I gotta go.
Yeah, dude. As always, guys, check us out on the socials in the show notes. Stop by patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature and sign up for our bonus shit called the Green Room. Also, you got to stop by and rate review us on iTunes. If you can't give us the $5, give us the 5 stars. Zoheb? I'll see you later, guys. Thanks for listening. We love you. Catch you on the next episode.